Verhoven, who is a magical realism artist in Jersey, which is USA, of course, East Coast of the States, right?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me on Living Artists.
Thank you for having me. So
Well,
excited to be here.
you're alive, so that's the number one prerequisite. You have to be a living entity and not a computer.
Yes.
So, yeah. All right. Well, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I'm off from my day job today, so these
Nice.
are my favorite days where I get to focus on art. So
Hmm. And so, do you mind me asking you a bit about your day job?
sure.
Like, yeah. So, what do you do for your day job?
I work in a library.
Oh, okay.
I am not a librarian.
Mm,
I work
okay.
in the technical services department, which I feel like a
Oh,
lot of people who aren't familiar with libraries don't know what that
okay.
is, but we kind of do all the back end like metadata type of stuff.
Oh,
Um, and I work
cool.
for a library at a community college.
Okay.
It was really important to me to like find a job that wasn't actually wasn't creative, because I knew
Okay.
that I just wanted this to fund my
Hmm.
actual creative pursuits, and if I
Yeah.
had something more creative, it was gonna kind of deplete that battery so
Mm,
that, like,
that's
when I
smart.
got home yeah, like, I'd be
Yeah.
like, "I don't wanna do that because 'cause I've been doing this all day, and I don't wanna do this,"
Yeah. Absolutely.
so I have a job that is not even remotely related to art, but
Hmm.
um, but I enjoy it.
Hmm. Would you say that it's a very process-oriented job, though? Like, there's very much like a process involved?
Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure. There's a lot of logic involved, there's a lot of data organization, there's a lot of, like and then just even physically dealing with the books, like putting,
Right.
stickers and, things like that on them.
Hmm.
It can be very meditative, actually,
Mm,
sometimes. I'll just, like, pop some headphones in and, like, do what I have to do, and,
yeah.
so it's great. I really
Yeah.
love it.
No, that sounds like a really good job, actually. I think it's really interesting because I did this little this little course because I was trying to figure out my life. And it was about it was like a careers type choice, careers course. And this it was just me and the instructor. It just happened to be that way that day. And she was asking me about like what kind of jobs I liked, and I was like, well, I like process oriented jobs. And she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, art is very much a process, right?
Mhm.
You have a goal and you go through all these steps and all this process to get to that end result. And it does have a very like meditative, almost like a factory job, right? Like there is a
Mhm.
very much like a methodology.
Yeah,
And
for
and
sure.
she kinda looked at me and she was like, "Oh, like, I never thought of it that way." I'm like, "Yeah, well, you wouldn't unless you know someone who does art all the time, right? That
Yeah.
there is very methodical and it's very, like, process driven." And I find myself attracted to jobs like that as well.
Yeah.
Um, I work in a pottery studio, so
Oh, nice.
yeah, so I, like, help people. I'm part pottery instructor, but also I do different things around the pottery studio. And I really enjoy it because it has that element of teaching creative stuff and helping people like discover, hello person, their
Oh,
creativity. But it also has that very like process type. So it's really interesting to hear that you're drawn to that too. I was
yeah, for sure.
just telling my kid, she just graduated high school. And I was like, "You need to find a job like this. I think you'd really like." So, yeah, so it's very much, "Hello, other person." Um,
Hi.
dandy slushy. Yeah, I find those jobs really fun, where
Yeah,
it's
they
yeah.
don't again, they don't deplete me mentally,
Mhm,
in the same way that certain other jobs would. It's
mhm.
also not physically demanding either.
Right.
So it's nice to come home and then just kind of sit, and do some art
Yeah.
after all that and not be like totally dead. Um,
Yeah, and I don't
so
know if you find this too, like, some jobs are very social heavy and like very
Yeah.
socially depleting.
Mhm.
I find
For
that
sure.
tricky.
I
Mhm.
started out at the library doing a more social role. I was like kind of a front desk worker.
Right.
And I moved up over the years, but I knew as
Mhm.
soon as I got there, I was like, I don't want to be at the desk. I was like, I want to be
Yeah.
behind the scenes where I don't have to
Yeah.
deal with people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's such a good thing to know about yourself. And
Yeah,
you're not like I want to say you're in your mid 20s. Is that correct? Am I
that's great. I love that. No, I'm early 30s,
Okay, okay.
so
Yeah.
close, close.
Yeah, yeah, very close. I think that's just a really good thing to know about yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
a lot of people don't find out till they've wrecked themselves, you know?
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
I've been at this job for 10 years,
Oh,
so
nice.
it's very stable, and
Mhm.
I did work, like, a retail job before it, and I was like, "This is not for me."
No, not at
Um,
all.
yeah, so I'm very thankful to have this job. Obviously, it's not the ideal. I'd like to be
Mhm.
doing my artwork, full time,
For
but
sure.
financially, it's just not viable for me right now, but
Mhm.
I hope one day it will be, so
Yeah. I know, and I mean, it's interesting too, like when you do start doing more and more art. What is this? This is Living Artists. We are we're chatting with artists who are alive. So yeah, that's what this is. Um, oh, what was I saying? Yeah, I found that like I've started getting a lot of commissions and that's been great, but also time-wise, very difficult.
Mhm.
Um, I know that you do other things too, though. Do you do illustration work or I know you have your Patreon. What kind of
Yeah,
other
so
work do you
I
do?
just started my Patreon, so that's a relatively new thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a YouTube channel for a few years, but I haven't really been active,
Mm-hmm.
because who has the time to edit
Right?
all the videos when you have a full-time job and you're trying to
Yes,
paint and you're trying to live your life and, all these things.
exactly.
But this year I've really had a mindset of trying to really focus on the business side of things.
Mhm.
I had my first solo show last year at Haven Gallery, which thank
Wow.
you.
What a goal. Like, what a great and they're such a lovely gallery. I've never been in their gallery, but I've watched it from afar. They seem like they're
Yeah,
just very
it
lovely
was
people.
it was perfect for me because I'm from Long Island. I was born on Long Island.
Okay.
So it was really an inspiration for me, when I entered the
Mhm.
space. To
Okay.
and it was I was like, "I wanna be in Haven Gallery," and, like, I really
Absolutely.
strived for that goal.
Mhm.
So when it finally happened, it was super surreal. And it was like, "Wow, I'm, like, meeting this goal that I've been trying to meet for so long."
Yeah.
And it was really, like it was kind of one of those pivotal, like, bittersweet moments in life where you have this, like,
Mhm.
lofty goal and you get to it.
Yeah.
And in my naive younger brain, I always thought, if I get to that point, I'll have made it as an artist
Yeah.
and like I'll be making like all the money and I can do it full time. And like, yeah, no, that's not reality.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm still really happy that I did it and I'm really, I'm proud of myself and I'm proud of the work that I did and I love working with that
Yeah.
gallery. But it kind of don't I was like, I can't continue to just focus on gallery work if I
Mhm.
want to make this into a full-time thing.
Right.
So I've been trying to kind of discover what I can do, that doesn't interfere too much with my day job at the same time,
Yeah.
that can get me to that point.
Mm.
So I've done a convention every year called a LuxCon in
Okay.
Pennsylvania and
Mhm.
it's for imaginative realism art. It's an amazing group of people, amazing group of artists. They're all so, like they're so nice and kind. If you ever get to go, like they're willing to
Yeah.
talk to everyone and,
That's cool.
give tips and just, have fun.
Yeah.
But I found a lot of collectors that way. And
Okay.
I've gotten commissions through there as well.
Nice.
So that's been great. But now this year I'm branching out and doing Gen Con for the first time, which is in
Okay.
Indianapolis. I'm very nervous, but very excited. Um,
Yeah.
and I've been just trying to develop new products for it,
Mhm.
because I've been told that people buy original art there, but it's kind of more about like the merch, like more
Yeah.
about the prints and
I
The
could see
thing,
that.
like, so I've been making, like, tote bags and enamel pins and stickers
Nice.
and, like, all these other things that I could hopefully sell when I'm there.
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of one of the big main goals for this year. And
Mhm.
then, yeah, starting my Patreon, I've been taking, like, marketing classes, so just,
Nice.
like, all the hats that you wear as an artist to try and,
Mhm.
but I've never done any, like, freelance or commercial work,
Okay.
or anything like that, because of the day job. Because I was like, I
Oh.
already have, like, financial stability through this, like, so I might as
Mhm.
well focus on what I want to be focusing on,
Mhm.
when I'm doing my art. So
Right.
that's kind of the mindset that I was in.
And do you take on a lot of commissions, or is that something where you're not as focused on?
Definitely not, like,
Mhm.
it hasn't been a huge focus. I haven't done that many.
Mhm.
It's usually if somebody approaches me and, like, has this idea that I'm like, "Yeah, that's right up my alley," you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, it has to kind of be aligned with, like, what I'm envisioning, like, for my portfolio and, stuff like that.
Right.
So I haven't done, like, super many,
Right.
but I'm always, like, open to discussing it with people and,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But, yeah, for all of, like, the last 2 years, I was so focused on the solo show that,
Yeah, I
like,
bet.
I was like,
That's
"I
a
don't have
ton
time
of
for anything
work.
else."
Yeah, a solo show is so much work.
I
Like,
definitely
so much.
underestimated it, and I'm a very
Mhm.
slow painter.
Mhm.
So I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll definitely have 12 pieces, no problem," and I ended up, I think, having 10, and I was so
That's really
disappointed in
good.
myself. I was like, "You should have had more."
Aw.
But
That's a
I'm
lot, though. I feel like
it's a lot.
that's like a piece a month.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
a lot,
much.
really.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, I'm in Canada, and I'm not as exposed to all the conventions and stuff. I have heard of Gen Con.
Mhm.
Can you tell me, like, is this a really big convention? Is this one where, like, like, the major type people would be at, or, like, what is it like? Have you been there as a participant before?
So I have not actually attended because since I'm on
Okay.
the East Coast, it's quite a trek for me.
Yeah.
So even just like applying for it, I was nervous because I was like, oh my God, we're gonna have to drive there with like all of our stuff and like it's
Right.
gonna be a big road trip type of thing. And me and my husband both work, so it's like you gotta take
Yeah.
all this time off.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's one of the biggest gaming conventions in the country.
Oh, okay.
So it's for like tabletop gaming mainly.
Okay.
And it's I think it's yet last year I think it was attended by over 70,000 people.
Wow. Okay, so
And
that
they
is
have
pretty big.
like it's pretty big. It's one of the bigger ones that's, and I've just heard lots of great things about it from friends in the community, that, it's a really good show to be at. It's a
Mhm.
juried process, so it's not like, "Oh, I want a table, so I get a table." Like, you have to
Right.
apply, and I did not think I was ever gonna get in because I've never done freelance work or,
Mm,
commercial work. I
right.
thought that they were gonna focus on artists who were more involved in the gaming space.
Right.
Um, but by some miracle, I got in, and I
Oh,
was
that's
like,
good.
immediately my brain went into overdrive. I was like, okay, I gotta plan this. I gotta like, we gotta do this road trip. We gotta get to the hotel. Like
Yeah.
the whole thing. But yeah. So there's like different sections of the convention. Like there's an artist alley, which is where I'll be, and then there's like an
Mhm.
authors alley too for like
Okay.
book writers, and then there's like a whole gaming section for tabletop gaming, and then there's like so
Mhm.
many events and things that they do like live D&D games and like all this other
Mhm.
stuff. So it's definitely going to be a fun time. I'm sure
I
it's going to be
bet.
exhausting.
I bet.
I'm going to be like peopling for like 4 days straight.
Mhm. Mhm.
Gonna need
Mhm.
like a vacation
After your
afterwards.
vacation, I know. I've just done a couple of small conventions, and I've always found them just really hard afterward, like,
Yeah,
very
for
draining.
sure.
But I want to say that one of the artists that I absolutely love, Annie Stagg, I feel like she's been at Gen Con.
She has. She's also one of my favorite artists too.
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah.
Um, I
The
got to have
fangirl
breakfast
for the
with
both of
her
us. Yeah.
last time I was at
What?
AluxCon, which
What?
was last year. Yeah, I was dying.
Oh, is
My
she as
friend had
lovely as she seems?
oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
My friend had like, and
That's
I'm someone
dope.
who gets massively starstruck by people. So I felt like a total goof, because my
Aw,
friend set up the breakfast with us, and she was just so nice and kind, and
aw,
it was so much fun. And but yeah, I think she has done Gen Con, but I don't think she really does it anymore. I think she's more
okay.
like she does Dragon Con because it's closer to her home.
Right.
Um,
That
and
makes
then she still does a LuxCon usually every year too. So that's usually where I
right.
see her is at a LuxCon.
Okay.
Um, I wanted to
And
try and do Dragon Con as well, but
mhm.
of course I have a wedding to go to this year, so
Oh,
I was like,
you
"Can't
can only
apply
do
this
so
year."
much too,
Yeah,
right? Like I feel like it's a lot. Every single
yeah,
convention is so much.
yeah.
But so for people who haven't seen your work, they should go and see it. But your work is very I would say I think it's so funny that you work in a library because it's very like mythology, like classic mythology driven, very literary in like in my mind. It reminds me a lot of the like Waterhouse and like artists from that era, which were very much drawing on like that classical history and Shakespeare and like literary culture. Um, your work's very figurative, again, very imaginative, as we said. Um, when you think of like your perfect life, your perfect job or whatever, do you see yourself doing like book covers or like working on tabletop games, or is this just like kind of your people are other artists that you like are there, or like what is it that draws you to Gen Con?
Um, I mean, I do have a passion for tabletop gaming,
Okay.
but I think just finding an audience, for
Mm,
my stuff. Uh
mhm,
I took a very non-traditional route into this. I do have a
mhm.
mentor that I work with, Howard Lyon. I don't know if you
Oh,
know
okay,
his
yes, of
stuff.
course I know who he is, yeah.
Um,
I love
so
his
I
work.
talked to him a lot about this, and I've had like
Cool.
my own little, crises where I'm like, should I
Mhm,
go into like freelance and commercial work? Like, what should I do? Like, I need to like, it's moments where I feel stuck and I want to feel more
yeah,
like forward momentum.
mhm,
And he kind of has told me like, stay the course, like keep
mhm,
doing what you're doing, and one day it's gonna pay off. And
mm,
it's I think he's right. I think it's definitely a game of patience. And
yeah,
also, wearing so many hats and trying to figure out the business side of things as well.
yeah,
But like ideally just I'd like to be doing what I'm already doing and just doing like I think most artists feel that way, like doing like
yeah,
personal work,
mhm,
and being able to have different types of income streams, again, like Patreon and like a shop,
mhm,
like an online shop, and selling
yeah,
merch and stuff, and going to conventions, and
yeah,
just kind of doing my own thing,
mhm,
um, so yeah, it's been a struggle, like trying to decide if I should just go, take that leap, go into like commercial work. I mean, I'm
mhm,
totally open to doing it. Like if I
right,
find an opportunity that like aligns with my work.
mhm,
Because that's something that I've heard from a lot of artists is that they end up doing work for companies or something, and they're always very thankful that they get this work, obviously, but
yeah,
then their portfolios are not what they want it to be because they're
right,
doing work that is for these companies and not like
mhm,
the work that they want to be doing.
yeah,
um, so like I've thought about like working with Magic before. I've had like a few portfolio reviews with them and stuff. But so far we haven't like clicked on something
mhm,
like specific, like a concept that worked, like for it. But
right,
it's on my radar. I've talked to some book cover people as well.
mhm,
So it's always kind of like in the back of my head.
yeah.
But it's again, it has to kind of align with like what I'm doing. So
Yeah, because I could see your work as book covers, and especially in that like almost like romance kind of fantasy
mhm.
genre. I could see it falling into that category and, working well there. I have to say that I really admire the fact that you're uncompromising about your work because I would totally be like, "Whatever, I'll do whatever," like, and sometimes that flexibility is not good. Sometimes it can like you were saying, like, dilute your energy, but also, like,
Mhm.
just dilute that portfolio. I definitely can see how that would be, but it is hard
Yeah.
to
I
stick
mean,
to your guns.
I'm in a good like, I'm in a good financial position to do so
Mhm.
because I made it that way.
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
I knew that again, like it was funny. I kind of figured this out when I was in my 20s and my
Mhm.
mom kind of kept coming because I started out in like hyper realistic portraiture kind of.
Right.
And my mom kept coming to me and being like, "Oh, I have friends that like want to commission you to do a portrait of them." And instead of being excited about it, I kind of was like, I
Mm.
don't know how I feel about that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, I was like very grateful they liked my stuff enough that they wanted to hire me. But there was
Yeah.
just something at the back of my mind that I was just like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like what I
Mhm.
want to be doing. So I had to
Mhm.
kind of soul search artistically for a
Yeah.
while to figure out what it is I wanted to do. And I don't know, a lot of inspirations for me growing up were like Final Fantasy.
Right.
And also like you said you brought up Waterhouse before.
Mhm.
And I think your last guest Regina was talking about like pre-Raphaelites, and
Yep.
stuff like that. And I studied them
Mhm.
in college and I loved
Yeah.
John Everett Millier, and I actually did a
Mhm.
piece inspired by his piece Mariana for a gallery show.
Right.
So I really had to tap into those inspirations and be like, well, what is it that I'm looking to achieve? Or what is it that I'm trying to say and find my voice and, kind
Mhm.
of what every artist has to go through at some point in their career, like to
Yeah.
figure out what they're trying to do. Um,
Yeah.
and
And so
obviously lighting plays a big role too in my work.
mhm. And so were there things like that you did to kind of concentrate on certain things? Like did you do like I don't know, journaling or so I don't know what was your mode of figuring that out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously a very visually oriented person, so I
Mhm.
kind of was just like making mood boards,
Yep.
like making like inspiration boards and then just kind of like I think there was a post I did like on Instagram so many years ago now. I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago where I took like all these artistic influences that I loved and I just put them like in a little collage and I was like, this is what I
Mm.
want my art to be, like kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
And I definitely once I figured that out and once I like knew where I was drawing inspiration from and things of that nature, it was a little bit easier for me to arrive at that. But
Mhm.
we're constantly evolving as artists, and I
Mhm.
still want to evolve. And I've
Mhm.
been trying to kind of I feel like I do want to move my work in a more narrative direction
Mhm.
at this point where it's like, all right, I've done the portrait thing a lot. Like that's basically
Mhm.
all I've done. And I feel like I'm ready to kind of move in a like almost like a storytelling direction.
Right.
So I'm excited about that. Uh
Yeah.
just gotta find the time to do it.
And are these like your own stories that you want to tell?
Yeah, partially.
Mhm.
Also, like you said, mythology as well is a huge inspirational draw for me.
Mhm.
But like one idea that's just been at the back of my mind for a while now is that I want to do a piece of like a siren who's singing for her lost love.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
like I've been trying to find reference photos of
Yeah.
women singing, and it's really
Mhm.
not easy because it all looks
Mhm.
very stiff. It
It
all looks
does.
very like I don't know, it's just not natural looking. So I went
Yeah.
to Howard and I was like, "Can I pay you to take some reference photos for me?" And he's amazing, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna
So
ask if you took your own reference or
I did it a long time ago. I did when I was in
mhm.
college and I had access to so many people.
Mhm.
that, my friends who I was living with and, they were on campus and I'd be like, "Come over, I wanna
Mhm.
take pictures of you," and,
Yeah.
stuff like that, but I'm pretty, like, in an isolated suburban area now,
Mhm.
so I don't usually do my own. I usually buy reference packs online, and, it
Right.
honestly works great for me,
Mhm.
because I it's almost like a discovery. Because then I find, like, the perfect reference pack, and I'm, like, looking through it, I'm like,
Mhm.
it actually usually looking at the models in those sometimes will inspire a piece, like,
Right.
for me. So I'll be like,
Mhm.
like, almost like a story will form in my head about, like, what she's doing or,
Right.
something like that. Yeah.
Mhm. Cool. Um, yeah, and that's one of those struggles of the figurative artist, right? Is trying to find the perfect model and the perfect, set, all of that, right? It's tricky. It's just another hat you gotta wear,
Yeah,
right?
and,
Like
I've
getting into
asked Howard
photography.
before, I'm like,
Mhm.
"Where do you find these people?" Because he sells his ref
Mhm.
packs too online to people,
Yeah.
they're amazing, and
Mhm.
he's like, "Yes, I just see someone interesting, like, I walk up to them and give them my
Yeah.
business card." I'm like, "I do not have the guts to just walk up to a stranger and be like,
I've
'I
done
wanna
that.
paint you.'
Yeah,
Good
and
for
it's
you."
hard. It's hard. There was this it was so random too. There was this beautiful child. I still haven't finished the painting because it was it, I don't know. I just haven't finished the painting. I need deadlines. If I don't have a deadline, I sometimes it will
I'm the
just
same way
I'm like, "Oh, I'm
sometimes.
just gonna put it aside for a little bit."
Same.
But we're in Costco of all places, and I see this child. She's albino,
Mm,
and just like this most petite, adorable, like child, white hair, purple eyes, like beautiful, right? And I'm
yeah,
like hemming and hawing. I'm like, I don't know what I should do. I just want to paint this child so bad. She's so gorgeous. And it was my husband actually who was like, just go do it. Just give them your card, And I was like,
yeah,
this is kind of weird, but like, can I paint your child? And so because she is very photosensitive, her mom took the photos. Um, so that yeah, and that was probably better for the kid anyway, because
yeah.
I don't believe in like uh just getting kids used to strangers taking photos, like, that's
Yeah.
weird, right?
It was probably a little more natural because, like, it was someone their mom,
Yeah,
they were
it's
super
your mom.
comfortable and
Yeah.
yeah.
Of course, you still end up with some, like, just lens issues with the
Mhm.
reference, when someone's taking them on their iPhone and they're
Yeah,
so there
because
was
they're
that,
not they're
but
not photographers,
we're not
they're, you
photographers, and
know
I don't expect
Mhm.
that. Um, but so I have done it, and I have done that online too. I'm in a group of artists called Canyo,
Oh,
and so it's a lot of artists, and they'll just like post photo references. A lot of them are selfies, right? And so I've connected with artists on there and been like, hey, because I'm always trying to paint people that look um just different, right? Like I'm trying to always paint
yeah.
people that have like a just a different look. And there's this one model on there, and she's actually in Mexico. I've painted her several times, and she just took reference for me of herself, and I paid her. And I was like, "This is amazing, thank you so much." But yeah, I encourage people to get creative because there's so much more like connectivity out there. You don't just have to take photos of people in your immediate vicinity. There's a lot of
Yeah,
people that are totally cool with taking photos for you. So there's all
yeah,
of that.
for
um,
sure. Yeah, I'm the
yeah.
same, I don't wanna keep painting the same model over and over again, I would get pretty
Hmm.
bored with that. Um,
Hmm. And
but,
there's something like this one particular model, I've never seen this in a person before, or she could be like totally, totally naked, but she doesn't look self-conscious. And that's such a rare
confidence. Yeah,
quality. And just like she just looks like a child. Like she looks
yeah.
like, yeah, this is who I am. Like she doesn't, there's no like trying to be sexy, and there's no
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I'm self-conscious." Like, she's somewhere in this other realm where she's just like, "That's who I am," and
Yeah.
isn't trying to put on airs or anything.
Yeah.
It's hard to
That's
follow.
really admirable. It's I don't know if
Yeah,
I would never be able to do that myself.
it's hard. I've
I
tried, and
even
I was
feel
like,
awkward taking my own like, if I have to take a picture of myself for a reference photo, I even feel,
yeah."
like, awkward about it. I'm like, "It's just
Oh,
me."
same.
Like
I know, and it's like, nobody else is gonna see this but me, but it's so
yeah.
weird. Yeah. I
I
totally
get
feel
it.
that way. I also just
I
don't
totally
feel
get it.
photogenic enough. Like, I think some people really just look good when they take photos, and I always feel like I'm like,
Like
I
a like
take a
yeah, same.
photo,
I'm like, "I look like a
it's
gremlin,
dirty.
like, in this
Yeah.
photo," like
Yeah, I feel that way. I've always felt that way when I look at photos of myself, but oh well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. It's
Mhm.
a hard thing to see yourself in photos, and if it's not taken
Yeah.
at the exact right, like, angle and the exact right lighting, you're just like,
Mhm.
"Ugh."
Yeah. I know, it's like hearing your own voice too,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah,
really hard.
that's something I've been getting used to as well, doing, like, the YouTube videos and
Yeah.
stuff. I've been trying to get comfortable, like, narrating things, and,
Mhm.
well, some of my friends listened to it, and they were like, "You kinda sound like an audiobook narrator," and I was like, "Is that a
Mm.
good thing or a bad thing?"
Yeah.
And they were like, "A good thing," and I was like, "Okay, I
Yeah.
guess I should, like, kind of lean into that," you know, like,
Right?
so I've been trying to make sort of this, like, calming, like, voice sort of voiceover thing, and because 'cause I'm not the
Nice.
type of person who's like, "Hey, look at me, like, I'm on
Mhm.
social media," and, like, this big bubbly, like, personality, like, that's just not
Mhm.
who I am, so I was like, I'm
Yeah.
more into, like, the more reserved, like so I was like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, maybe I should lean into this, like, calming sort of, like,
Mhm.
persona when I'm doing my content and stuff," you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Lean into whatever you're good at. I'm good at being a hot mess, and that's pretty much it. That's like, if that's a brand, I can do it. Man, it's just been crazy lately. Between working and my kids aren't in school anymore. So um just yeah, I've really been discombobulating, like just
Yeah.
even more so than ever,
How old are
trying
they?
to organize. My youngest is 11, and
Okay.
my oldest is 18, so
Oh, wow.
I they're old enough to take care of themselves, but they still need to be driven.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like,
I've heard
yeah.
people with kids that age, they're like, "I'm a chauffeur, I'm just
Yeah,
driving everywhere all the
basically, yeah.
time."
Yeah, yeah, "I wanna hang out with my friends, I wanna do this, I wanna do that,"
Yeah.
and it's like, there's only so much time.
Yeah.
Everywhere here, it's like 20 minutes to everywhere, and
Mm.
so, actually, when I was driving back, yeah, I've been driving around all morning, uh, so and then I got back and I'm like, "Wait a minute, I never even announced this." Like, "I'm so sorry, I haven't done that." That was the
Funny.
first time I really yeah. So, it has been a hot mess lately.
I get it.
That's
I
my world.
totally get it. I don't know, even those who've, put on a front of, like, they have it all together, I'm like, "No, you
Mhm.
don't."
No. You might as well know up front, I
Yeah.
don't, you know, so that you're not like, "Why is she so blah, blah, blah?" It's like, "No, that's just my brand. Yeah." I'm gonna lean into that.
Yeah, I mean, same. It's, between taking care of, family stuff and
Mhm.
trying just balance. That's something it's a word
Mm.
that I've come to, like,
Who has
hate
that?
as
Yeah.
as an adult because I'm like, it's something that is so hard to achieve that
Mm.
I don't know if I'll ever get it, like, but it's like with everything. It's always like,
I
"You
th
have to find a balance, you have to find
Mhm.
a balance," and I'm like, "How?" Like
I don't know. I kind of think a lot of those sorts of things, balance and authenticity and all of these things are like buzzwords that the internet has given birth to, that is an unrealistic expectation to have on life,
Yeah.
because I've never experienced that ever. And I'm 41, like, and I don't think it actually exists. I think
Yeah,
that that's
life is
just
just a hot mess all the time.
it's just a hot mess, and you just kinda
Yeah.
gotta, like, embrace the fact that you're just gonna be imperfect and never really find,
Yeah,
you
which
know,
for
a
someone with,
place.
like, chronic anxiety,
Mhm.
perfectionism, sort of,
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
that's a problem.
Right?
It's something, I always have to, check myself with, and be
Mm.
like, "You're human, you're gonna make mistakes, like,
Yeah.
everything life will go
Yeah.
on." So
Yeah. And unfortunately, I found that the only times that I've really, like, realized that is when everything horrible happens and,
Mhm.
like, the worst scenario happens, and, like, it's like watching a train wreck, and you knew it was gonna happen, and it happened, and now you just have to deal with it, and it's like, "I'm still alive," you
Yeah.
know? We're still here. It's
Yep.
you know,
You live through it,
you
and
live
you
through it,
move on, you pick
you
yourself up,
yeah, keep trucking. That's
Yeah,
all you can do, unfortunately, so but I mean, I think that's just the human story, right?
for sure.
Is we're all just kinda
Yeah,
trying.
I
Trying.
I try to give people grace, like,
Mhm,
it's like everybody's
exactly.
got their own stuff going on.
Mhm,
Like, the people who, like, treat service workers poorly and stuff I'm like, "How
yeah,
could you do that to someone who's a stranger? You have no idea what's going on in their
yeah,
life."
and
And,
they're probably working for minimum wage. They're probably
exactly.
working for somebody who's not a nice person. Like,
Yeah,
people in the service industry are dealing with things that most people most of the people that are abusive to them wouldn't put up with, right?
yeah,
It's
exactly.
almost always that way. It's like
Mhm.
you wouldn't do this for $30 an hour.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing it for way less, so please be nice to me.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
We've even gotten crazy people in the library.
I
And it's like,
bet.
most people are like, "Oh, nothing happens in a library. They're quiet."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "No, it's still like a service job.
Yeah.
You're still dealing with the public. You're
You're
still,
still dealing with people.
dealing with people." So
Mhm. People are a
whenever you have
mess.
that, you're gonna have some crazy incidences that happen.
Definitely. Yeah, and it's always the crazy person where something goes wrong.
Yep,
Yeah,
always, every
yeah.
time.
It's like, "This has never happened before," and they're like, "Sure." I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
really, it just happened to you." Like, I'm so sorry."
Like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
that's
retreat into my studio and just
mhm.
paint my feelings and
Yeah, yeah. That's why I've always said, like, a studio has to have a door because there are times when you just have to close the door and cry.
Yep,
Mhm.
for sure.
Mhm.
But my mom has
Absolutely.
this theory that, like, when artists are, like, going through hard times is when they
Mm.
produce their best work.
I don't think that's true.
I know, I was
I
like,
really
"Where do you
don't.
get this
I
idea
think
from?"
that's,
I don't
like,
know.
a very unfortunate romanticized version of artistry.
Yeah,
But every
yeah,
single artist that I've talked to, and then the last few months I've talked to quite a few, um, people who do their best work when they're happy,
yeah,
when they
I
don't
believe that.
feel like the world is caving in on them,
Yeah, which makes
when
total sense.
mhm,
Like, if you're feeling secure in your life, it's like you have more freedom to devote
mhm,
your brain, like
mhm,
yourself to your work.
yeah. I will say this though, when I feel like I'm being pressed by life, sometimes that's when I will solve problems better.
Mm,
And it's like, I don't know what it is. It must have something to do with that stress or
mhm.
something. I'll have a problem that I've been stewing about, but I can't really figure it. But it's almost like most things in nature do this. Like, plants do this when they're so to trigger most plants to flower is when they feel like they're dying. So for a
Oh,
cactus, it's like when there's no water. Um, Yeah, for different plants, whenever they're about to flower, it's because they need to in order to reproduce to continue. So
Mhm.
it's that pressing that will create the perfect environment for them to flower. And so I do understand where people are coming from because yeah, when you're in a situation where you feel pressed, sometimes you are able to solve problems all of a sudden that you couldn't solve before. But
Yeah.
I don't think you make your best work. Um, and I think that that's because art takes time,
Mhm.
right? It really does. And I've tried to make it take less time, and I did not produce my best work. Let's just put it
Same,
that way.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, with my oil paintings, I always do an underpainting, and
Hmm.
I've had a lot of people be like, "Why? Like, just skip that
Hmm.
part. Just go straight to color." And I'm like, "I've done that, and it does not
Yeah.
look the same in the end. It just is
Hmm.
not the same."
Yeah.
It's just a necessary part of the process, and it's like, well, yeah, I should devote my time to my practice if I want it to be the best that it can be, and if it's
Hmm.
telling me I have to do this step, even though it
Yeah.
seems unnecessary,
Hmm.
like, then I'm gonna do it.
Then you're
Like,
gonna do it. Yeah. I
yeah.
know I'm working on a piece and I have erased her face probably 4 times in total. I've erased parts of her face more than that. But I've
Yeah.
wiped it clean like 3 at least 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
And,
I know that life.
yeah, it's just like every time I'm like,
And it
"Nope."
could be the smallest little thing, I think anybody
Yeah.
who does portraits knows, the
Mhm.
smallest little thing, and it throws the whole face
The whole
off.
thing off,
Um,
especially when it's a small so this is
yeah, I
like
was
a
literally gonna
smaller
say that.
head. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I find people are always like, "Oh, small is easy." Small is the hardest.
It's the
Small is
hardest
so
way to go.
hard. Yeah,
I'd say,
it
like,
really is.
medium-sized is the best scenario. Like, too
Mhm,
big, and then it's kind of like, you gotta zoom out constantly to be
mhm.
like, "Oh my gosh, like, what am I working on
Yeah,
here?" But,
yeah,
yeah, one of the smallest ones I ever had, yeah, I had that same problem. I kept wiping it
mhm,
out and wiping it out, and I was like,
mhm.
"Why am I having so much trouble with this?"
Yeah,
And I was
this
like, "Well,
because
her face is
every
the size of
stroke
a
matters.
quarter." So,
Yep.
like
I know I've done a few where, like, they're thumb-sized, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"I never do that ever again."
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
I love the way they came out, but it is the biggest challenge, and
Yeah.
I find for me, it is the challenge is to generalize
Mhm.
those shapes and not to be
Yeah.
super detailed. That's something I think Howard does really well, is he
Mhm.
makes and he'll work so small. Like I think some of his faces are like probably that
Yeah.
size.
Yeah.
Um, and it's that's so hard though.
Yeah, he's got a big, like, variety in that sense. Like, I've seen some of his
Yeah.
solo shows in person at Haven Gallery, and
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, there are times where he's working on these tiny little, like, circular panels. Like, he
Hmm.
did this series of, like,
Yes, I
women who
remember
were,
those
like,
pieces.
representing the seasons, and they were
Hmm.
so small when I saw them in
Hmm.
person.
They
And
were
then
like
right
4 by
next to it,
4.
there was a giant, like, I think it was, like, a 36-inch circle piece that he
Wow.
did, a portrait, and I was like, "There's such a dichotomy between, like, this
Yes.
giant portrait and these tiny little,"
Yeah.
yeah, he's truly a master at what he does.
Hmm. Um, and so how do you come into him being your mentor?
Patreon. Uh,
Okay.
he
Okay.
has Patreon mentorships, and I knew I loved his work so much, and I
Mhm.
was like, I saw that he had this opportunity on his Patreon, but all
Mhm.
the slots were all filled. And I was like, "Oh, darn," like, I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. And, one day I got a notification that a spot opened up. I ran to my computer, I went on, and it was gone. It was gone by the time I
Oh.
got there, and I was
Oh,
like,
no.
"No!" And then, like, a week later, another one opened up, and
Oh,
I was able to get a spot,
get it
and,
in.
he's just been, like, such a crucial part of my development the last I don't even know how many years it's been. Probably at least 4 years I've been with him.
Okay. Nice.
So and I've had people walk up to me and say, like, "Do you know Howard Lyon? Like, your work kind of has this, like, vibe."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "It's funny you should say that." So
Yeah. I have noticed that, like, with artists that I've really seen a lot of, like, consistency from. I think, Morgan Booth is another one that comes to mind,
Mhm,
and, so she is or was, I'm not sure, mentored by Alex Garant, so you
mhm.
probably have seen her work with, like, the multiple eyes.
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And I've noticed that, like, having a mentor has really been, um, just builds seems to really build people.
Yeah. I mean,
Have you found
honestly, that out of all my education, that I've gotten in the arts, that was, like, the best thing, but it's hard. It's hard
Mhm.
to first identify who would be a good fit for you, and then
Yeah.
hope that they're into the idea
Doing
of
that.
mentoring someone, because, like,
Absolutely.
I don't have time to do that myself, and I actually have had a few people approach me about it, and I'm
Oh,
like, "I
wow.
would love to, but I just don't have the time right
Yeah.
now to
That's
devote
a
to that."
lot to
But
put into someone.
yeah, and I wanna
Yeah,
devote if I'm gonna do it, I wanna do it right,
absolutely.
but, yeah, I went to art school for a year, when I
Mhm.
first started college, and it was just I remember having, like, such a crisis, because I was like,
Mm.
"I'm paying all this money to be
Yeah.
here. I'm, not gonna be a doctor," like, and how am I gonna pay off these loans? But then also, like, looking at the teachers I was working with, they were very skewed towards more contemporary,
Right.
work, and I was like, "I don't identify with this at all." Like, I'm more of,
Yeah.
like, a, traditional, like, realism type of person,
Mhm.
and I really had to, like, soul search and be like, "Do I wanna be here?" And my mom was the one who, like, said to me, she was like, "With all the money you're paying for this, you could be studying with," at the time, I was really into this artist, Dirk Dizymerski. He's, like, very hyper realistic.
Okay.
He was like, "You could be in Germany right now studying with him."
Hmm.
And I was like,
Yeah.
"You're right, you're right. I could be studying with an artist I actually wanna study with and not
Yeah.
going after this, like, piece of paper that's probably not going to help me anyway."
Probably
I have a
not.
whole soapbox about, art
Yeah.
school and college and stuff,
Mhm.
but so then once I started actually focusing on finding people who I wanted to learn from, and one of the
Mhm.
first people was actually Annie Stagg, and I
Right.
went on her Patreon and I was like learning her technique and from the videos and things that she was posting, and I was like, yes, this is what I want to be doing. And
Mhm.
then I just focused on finding I also took a smart school course, which was like one of the
Mhm.
best classes I've ever
Mm.
taken. I
Oh,
recommend
good.
it to everyone.
And
Um,
who did you study under in there in the smart
I
class?
studied I had a dual, teacher, yeah, with, Brad Kunkel and, Martin
Nice.
Whitfuth, and, I think it was
Love Brad's work.
yeah,
That's
me too.
so yeah.
I was fangirling all over the place.
Oh, it'd be so hard not
Um,
to. I love his
yeah,
work.
it was
Whenever
definitely that class was kind of where I started really developing my current process that I have not for
Mhm.
painting, that I have
Right.
not strayed from. Because I also do, like, mixed media, and I just started
Mhm.
recently getting into pastels.
Okay.
But the oil painting is really, like, between them and Howard, were, like, the 2
Mhm.
pillars of, like, my technique and, like, how I got there and
Mhm.
everything. So I
That's
swear by those classes.
yeah. Well, that's awesome. I mean, I've always wanted to do those courses and just like they're expensive, especially once you convert them to Canadian dollars, like they're quite
Yeah,
pricey. But I've always and there was I think I was talking to one of their reps a few years ago, maybe and they were like, yeah, yeah, we'd like to have you as I'm like, I'd like to be a student, but honestly, it's just really hard to do once you have a family. I feel like it's very hard to kind of like put into
yeah,
yourself like that.
yeah. Because you also wanna
So
be able to
yeah.
devote the time and effort, into the
right?
class,
Yeah,
because otherwise you're wasting your money, like.
absolutely. Yeah, you have to really have that time to devote. Um, and I found it, I feel too, like I've taken a few different Patreon things. I think I studied, I'm not going to remember her name, but I did take like an oil painting course from this one lady and years and years ago, and she came from it from a very academic training. I think she was trained in Italy, and
Mhm,
I think she's a Dutch artist. Now I can't remember her name, but I found it very hard because I think I'd
mhm,
already kind of developed um, how I painted already. I found it really hard for me uh, to do what she was doing,
mhm,
and she has a very like slow process, and I have more of like an alla prima process, and it was
mhm.
very hard to like completely change that
Yeah,
aspect.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it can be
definitely. I
hard
mean,
once
it's
you've already developed a process.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
good to try new things, but if you
absolutely.
feel like you're fighting with it, it's like maybe
Mhm.
this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Because like once I found the current process that I do, I was like,
Mhm.
I'm never going back.
Yeah.
But like even like when I was doing Annie Steg's classes, I was trying to replicate the technique that she uses, and
Mhm.
it just wasn't working for me. Um,
Mhm.
but she's amazing. I love her
She
stuff.
is
But like
amazing, yeah.
I was like I think, something is missing from it for me because
Mhm.
she does do an underpainting, but then she kind of
Mhm.
does these like dry brush like glazes on top.
Mhm.
And I just would like the color was frustrating me. I was like, it's not
Mm.
coming out the way I want it to.
Right.
So, I kind of had to move on from that and after I
Mhm.
learned what I wanted to learn and just find other ways of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has a really interesting technique, where she's and maybe I'm wrong in remembering this, but I read somewhere about her technique. It was a blog post, I think, where she was saying she does like 10 or 11 layers, where she glazes
Yeah.
in color. And I was like, I admire you, but also like not the patience for that. Like,
Yeah.
and to let
And
them dry in between, like,
she's so prolific too. Like
yeah,
she
it's a lot of
pumps
work.
out work like
Mhm.
nobody I've ever seen. And I'm like, and you're
Mhm.
putting 11 layers on this?
I
Like,
know.
it's
I know, it's
crazy.
crazy, but I think she works pretty small. Like, I don't feel like she's working large. She keeps her pieces pretty small and pretty tight.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I don't think I've seen a lot of her work in person at a LuxCon,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
Haven Gallery. I've never seen her go bigger than like, I don't know, like 2 feet in one direction. But
Right.
even that's rare. So yeah, she does usually
Mhm.
keep it on the smaller side,
On the smaller
compared to
scale.
like other artists. Yeah.
Mhm. And even when you like I'm just looking from the internet because I live so far away from everything. But even when I've seen pre-Raphaelite work in museums, they're not big. Like they're
Yeah.
pretty small pieces.
Hmm.
Which is interesting too because it seems like figurative work for it to really be good. You can't make it massive,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. I
know.
think the whole like massive canvas thing,
Mm,
I feel like that's more of like a contemporary sort of thing that, has kind of taken and it's really impressive when you walk in,
mm,
a room and see this
mhm,
giant like canvas and
absolutely.
stuff. But if you're someone who's really working in detail,
Mhm.
the only thing I can like compare that to is like, them like doing frescoes in the Renaissance era, like which, was an
Mm,
entire
mhm.
wall and they were doing these really detailed like paintings and stuff.
Yeah.
But I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head in like present day who like
Mhm.
works really detailed that large, like because it
Mhm.
and if they do, it takes them like well, I mean Martin Whitfoot works pretty large. He'll do some pretty like ginormous canvases and his stuff
Mhm.
can get pretty detailed. Um,
Mhm.
but I
I
don't
think
know.
you also
It just
have to have that demand, right?
yeah.
Like, I know,
Yeah.
another artist that I really love is, Julio Reyes, and,
Mhm.
one of his more recent pieces, it's like a very large, Pegasus, but
Mhm.
it's a big piece. He's selling it for 10 grand, I think, 10, 20 grand. Like, so if you have that demand, it's like, okay, I understand. But
Yeah.
I couldn't justify painting that big. Like, it would be, even my bigger pieces, I'm like, probably not gonna sell. Like,
Mhm.
they're just because of the price range that you start
Yeah.
getting into, right?
It's also a space thing too.
Is
Like,
a
not
space
many
thing.
people, even people who
Mhm.
collect art and have huge houses and, like, whatever, they run
Mhm.
out of space eventually. Um,
Absolutely, they do.
unless they,
Yeah.
start selling their other stuff to
Mhm.
accommodate newer works.
Mhm.
But I think the biggest one I've ever done was 4 feet. And
Yeah.
that was actually the piece I worked on in Brad and Martin's class.
Okay.
And it was one of the only multi-figure pieces I've ever done.
Mm. Yeah.
So and it took years, but I did finally sell
Mm.
it, but it took years and
Nice.
years of me showing it, like, before I
Mhm.
was able to actually sell it. So,
Yeah.
it's not something I don't like to work large anymore
Mhm.
unless there's a very good reason.
Yeah.
So the biggest one since then was 3 feet, and it's actually the one that's right on the wall back there. It's the one I don't know if you
Okay.
saw the one with, like, the woman on the boat with the lotus flowers.
I think I have,
Um,
yeah, because I
yeah,
did take a look at your show.
that one's
It's
3
beautiful.
feet.
Mhm.
Thank you. So and,
Yeah.
I've had that for about a year now. So,
Mhm.
I'm like, "I don't know when I'll sell this thing, but"
Yeah. For now, it's gonna be here. I know I've
Yeah.
had a few large pieces like that, as I made a couple of 24 by 24 inch panels, tondos for my solo show with 33 Contemporary. And I was able to put them on aluminum though, so they're quite lightweight.
Mhm.
Um, and they've, been in museums and things like that, which was great. But don't I don't like see them as pieces that I'm gonna sell. Like, I just don't, it just doesn't, I just don't think of it like that. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like they're probably ones I'll have forever because they're just bigger and,
Yeah.
you know,
Sometimes it calls for
yeah.
it. Sometimes you're
Mhm.
like again, you wanna avoid painting a face that's, like, this big. So, if you're
Yeah.
trying to do a more zoomed out, like, scene or something,
Mhm.
you gotta make
Yeah.
it bigger. Like, so
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, I think too, it was the moment, like, in that
Mhm.
moment, I was like, I need to make this. And then after having lived with it for a while, I'm like, I no, I get why people don't want to have like a really dark, scene with a naked lady on their wall. Like, I get it. Like, it's because I've put it on my wall. And I think in the moment, it really spoke to that time because it was 2020.
Mhm.
Right. I think that
Yeah.
show was like 2020 or 2021, 22, something like that. And it felt like that time had that feeling. So that's why I made it. But I feel like sometimes we make things because we're artists and we make things, and it's not like I'm making a product,
Yeah,
where
for
I'm
sure.
thinking, oh, how am I going to sell this? And then you step away and you go, how am I going to sell this? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I ever will, and I don't care. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's one of those sorts of things where, like, lots of people
Yeah,
like it. But
yeah, that's all that
um
matters.
yeah, it's a yeah, I don't know. I don't think that it's possible for artists to wear all those hats. Maybe some people can and do a really good job at that, but being an artist and a marketer, I'm not
Yeah,
really there. I don't know. But,
yeah. I've
maybe
I've seen
you are.
some artists who are very good they have a very good business sense, they have a very good marketing
Mhm.
sense, but in those instances, I actually do end up seeing the work suffer,
Mm,
because they're putting so much time and effort into those other things, it's like
yeah.
some of them don't even create, like, original work anymore. And,
Oh, okay.
it's like they just basically turned all of their old work into products and, and that's fine if that's what they
Mhm.
wanna do.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't be all the things all the time.
No.
Even if you're doing it full time, it's
Mhm.
impossible. Um, it's just utterly, and like one of the marketing classes I'm taking right now, they've kind of been saying that. They're like, you need to hire
Mm,
people to do
right.
certain tasks if you ever have like a hope to grow, like because you
Mm.
can't do all of it yourself. And
No.
I think there is this like impetus in the art community of like you have to do all of these things. Like you have to
Mhm.
be the video editor and the marketer and the making the art and the all the things and
Mhm.
it's just not possible. It's just not.
And I think a lot of that is because you just don't make enough to
Mhm.
justify hiring somebody, right?
Yeah. It's
So
hard in
it's
the
like it's
beginning
that
for sure.
double-edged thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
get it.
it's
I
it's
get when
hard.
people are in that place because I definitely have felt like that. Like I wish I could hire somebody to organize my studio. That would be
Yeah.
amazing. That would help me out a lot. But
Yeah. My mom
you
honestly
you
did
need
that for
money
me.
for that. Well, that's nice. That's great that you have that kind of support though, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure. My
um,
my husband too, one year for Christmas, he was like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I was like, "I literally just want you to organize my studio like you did in the garage for your stuff." And he was like,
yeah,
"Alright." And
yeah,
he, like,
that's
went through
easy.
everything and, like, made, like, he's very, very good at organization, and he has a
Oh,
very,
that's
like,
good.
practical mind for that stuff, and I do not. And I was
Mm,
like, "Just can you make this better?"
yeah.
Like, not, like, a bomb went off in
uh,
here, like
yeah, I know, and I'm terrible for. And one of the things you were saying about how you wanted your job to not be creative, I'm terrible for finding creative things to go and like divert my energy into. So I've started doing some ceramic work
Mhm.
because I work at a pottery place.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, how can I turn my tiny little space into like this workhorse for two or three things? It's just
Mhm.
like, why do I do this to myself? It's so silly. But yeah, I do
Yeah.
that.
Space is
Yeah.
an issue because then if you're getting, like, a kiln or something for pottery, like, that
Yeah.
takes up space, like,
I'm not. I luckily I'm able to partner with my pottery studio, but even just
Nice.
finding a space to do you can't do pottery and oil painting in the same space because pottery is porous. And so if it gets oil on
Oh,
it, you've got a problem. um,
wow.
so I'm like trying to kind of keep everything hermetically away from each other, which
Mhm.
isn't working all the time. So nothing's gotten wrecked yet, so that's good. But
Good.
it's just really hard to like get a
Yeah.
workflow in a space that's shared between two things that really shouldn't be.
I mean, but sometimes you gotta make it
You
work, you
gotta do
gotta do
it,
what you gotta
right?
do.
Yeah. And I've had people ask me like, "Oh, will you tattoo in your studio?" And I'm like, "Man, you guys, like I just
Yet
can't
another
do
thing to
everything."
throw in there.
Like it's like 10 by 10. I'm like, "How
Yeah.
much how many things can you fit in here?" So, yeah, so I get that. I totally do. And do you have like a devoted studio space or
I
is it
do,
like in
I'm in it
your
right now. I'm,
Oh,
like,
nice.
waiting over. Yeah,
It looks
this is
it looks
my
large.
It is, it's great, and I love it. When we bought our house, I knew I was like, I'm getting a room, and it's gonna be a
Mhm.
big room." And so we had
Nice.
that in mind when we were buying a house.
Perfect.
But because we used to live in, first we lived in an apartment, then we lived in a townhouse, and so I was in
Mhm.
this cramped little room with carpet, and every time I dropped something on the
Ah,
floor, it
fun.
would stain the carpet, and,
Mhm.
and I was in this little, like, corner, and then, like, it was also partly his office, so he had his desk
Mhm.
with his computer, and I was like, "This
Oh,
isn't
that's fun.
working." The
Nope.
most fun was when I was doing a commission for my sister-in-law. She wanted a giant, which it was a long time ago. It wasn't like my normal stuff. She wanted like a landscape, like a large landscape painting, and she's my sister-in-law, so I
Mm.
was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever."
So it's like, yeah, of
And
course.
but it was like 4 feet, and I was putting it in this tiny little studio. It's like
Oh,
half
wow.
of it was the canvas, and I was like, "I can't move in here." Um, so
I've
yeah,
done that.
I love my
Excuse
studio. I'm very
me.
thankful to have this space. It's just keeping
Mhm.
it clean. No, is the
Yeah,
problem.
keeping it clean. I know my kids are at that age where I'm like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna like train you so you can clean my brushes for me. Like even just that, I will pay you money. Just like
Yeah.
somebody do
Yeah,
this
yeah.
for me other than me."
Hell yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah. So I just have to teach them, so that's gonna be fun. Yeah, I haven't gotten around to that yet. Um, I'm curious, what do you have like go-to things like tools or I don't know, are you super picky about your brushes? Like, what do you feel like you couldn't live without in your studio?
Oh, yeah, if we're talking about mediums and things like that, brushes, I swear by Rosemary and Co. brushes.
Hmm.
I think Howard was the one who told me about them. I
Yeah.
think they're a company based in the UK.
Okay.
But the what do they call it? The bristles are so like kind of long that it like the paint doesn't soak into the hand like into the I can't think of the words. Like the metal
Mhm.
piece,
The
the
metal
bracket.
part.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
metal thing.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, the thing.
um, yeah, and then, that eventually ruins a brush, and I
Mhm.
have not had an issue with any I've had some of these brushes for years and years and years, and because the
Mhm.
bristles are so long and I wash them and I take care of them,
Yeah.
it's never been a problem, and they're still sometimes they get a little fluffy after using them so much, and then it's
Yeah.
like, well, if I want a fine point, I have to get another brush. But,
Right.
yeah, those are fantastic. Oil paints, you may be surprised to learn that I use water-soluble oils. I do not
Okay.
use traditional oils. I hate turpentine. I get migraines. I can't use it.
Mm. Mhm.
So I swear by water solubles. Although, I
Mhm.
mean, with the way I use them, I don't even know if I would even need turpentine. I really don't use paint
Right.
thinner that often. Like, I don't use the water
Mhm.
that often. It's
Yeah.
really just, I use it, like, straight out of the tube most of the times,
Mhm.
and I have one, medium that I use, which I think is
Mhm.
just linseed oil,
Okay.
but it's a water-soluble brand.
Okay.
And I just put a little bit of that on the surface of the painting when I'm gonna work on it, and then it just
Mhm.
makes a very even, kind of sheen for the whole thing.
Right. Mhm.
So I don't mix any of it directly on the palette like the medium.
Okay.
Um, but, yeah, those are the thing oh, and panels. I love, DaVinci Pro, smooth
Mm.
panels from Jerry's
Okay.
Artorama. Those are
Okay.
my so yeah, I do not paint on
Mhm.
canvas.
No, me
I
neither.
paint on wood panels because,
Mhm.
I hate the texture of canvas. And I
I
from the
also am a
beginning, I
canvas
hated it.
hater.
Yeah.
I also hate canvas. I
Yay.
yeah,
Another
yeah.
wood panel.
Yeah, I hate them. I had one artist on and he exclusively uses canvas and he was about to talk about it and I was like, I hate canvas, and then he got a phone call and I never got to say anything else and I felt so bad. But I hate the bounce of canvas. And I
Yeah.
think when you're really doing figurative work, you can't
Mhm.
have that. Um I've used wood panels for years, and I do love the aluminum panels, especially when
Mm.
I'm doing larger pieces. That's something that I've kind of come into in the last few years because they're so much lighter. You can't
Yeah.
really scale wood without having that weight issue,
Yeah.
especially I'm in Canada, so everything I make I ship.
Mhm.
Um, very, very few pieces stay local. Um,
Mhm.
so that's always something I'm having to be cognizant of, is not
Do
making
you,
heavy pieces.
do you prime them with anything, or do you just
Yeah.
paint directly on the metal?
No, I'm using dye bonds, so
Okay.
there it's kind of like it's like a sign material, basically.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, I know the New Zealand is it? Australian artist. I was just talking with her actually, maybe a couple weeks ago, and she does paint directly on aluminum, um, but she has to have it chemically treated. So that's the
Mm,
only thing with that. Whereas
yeah.
I kind of use it um, more like a wood panel. You basically prime it the
Mhm.
same way.
Yeah.
So
I know
very
some
very
people
similar process.
who paint on, like, copper panels, which is really
Mhm.
interesting. I've
Mhm.
wanted to try it,
Yep.
but I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Mhm.
But yeah, like, I also love oil ground now, which again is
Okay.
courtesy of, Brad.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Angel.
Brad,
That's my sister-in-law.
oh, hi. Um,
Yeah. She also has a
um
YouTube channel, but she does motorcycles, so very
oh,
random.
awesome.
Nice to see her. Yeah.
Yeah,
But sorry,
the
you were
oil
saying
ground
oil ground. Mhm.
was courtesy again of Brad and Martin, when I took
Mhm.
their class and they kinda taught me about it, and it's a pain in the
Yeah.
butt to apply it, and, like,
Mhm.
it takes 10
Yeah.
days, the whole process
Mm.
of, like, getting it to
Oh.
dry, because it's oil, it's an oil-based
Uh,
product. So, it's
yeah,
very
and I've tried to
time-consuming.
find it. I've tried to find oil ground here in Canada and I haven't had an
Really?
easy time. Yeah,
Huh.
I've tried to find it and tried to, but
I think
yeah, it's not a
the
common one for
brand that
me.
I buy is Gamblin.
Mhm.
I don't and,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that's
mean, we
wild.
have gambling products here, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't. Maybe there is an art store that I just, you know, but
Do you guys have,
also
like, Blick in Canada?
no.
Oh,
No,
you
we
don't
don't have
s
Blick,
so
we don't have Jerry's, nothing like that. So
oh
we
my
have
god.
Michael's and we have just little independent stores
Okay.
that sell art supplies. So they exist. But even just trying to find info on like why oil ground over like an acrylic gesso. And some places have been like, there is no real difference. It's just like this adherence to this old world thing.
I disagree. After using both, the thing that makes such a difference for me with oil ground is the absorbency.
Mm,
So or lack thereof rather.
right.
Whereas acrylic gesso has this way of almost like sponging up the paint, like it kind of like takes it into itself.
Mm,
Whereas the oil ground doesn't do that. It
no.
kind of just
Okay.
sits, or at least, I mean, maybe eventually, like as it's drying, it kind of bonds more with
Mm,
the panel, but when you're doing it,
okay.
it kind of just sits on the surface. So when
Mm,
I'm doing like underpainting work, I do a lot of subtractive work, so
right.
I'm, like, wiping stuff out, and,
Hmm.
like, I wouldn't be able to really do that with acrylic gesso. It would
Mm,
stain, basically, it wouldn't come back out. So,
mm, okay.
that's the thing that was kind of game changing for me was,
Mm,
if I wanted to work
yeah.
in this subtractive kind of way, I needed,
Hmm.
which for the lighting effects and stuff that I do has been
Hmm.
kind of crucial to that.
Right.
So yeah, I really love
Hmm.
oil grounded. I hope you can find it one day so you can
Yeah.
try it out.
I'm sure I will at some point. You know, for my process, I start so like I'll start with a drawing. I'll draw right on my panel, and then I'll seal it many times before
Mhm.
I paint over top. So I haven't had that experience with an acrylic gesso, but I I like to use these expensive clear gessos. Um, because yeah, why wouldn't I? And so
Well, it's like
I
the
haven't
more
had
money you
that issue,
spend,
but yeah.
the higher quality usually the product is, unfortunately.
Hopefully.
Um,
Hopefully. Some of them I don't like. Some of them
mhm.
I have even though they are expensive and they're like, leading brands, there have been some where I'm like, nah, this isn't
Yeah.
as good as this other thing that I found. So it's yeah, it's weird. Art is weird.
Yeah. You just gotta
But
try
yeah,
different things and see what sticks, see
absolutely.
what works for different processes.
Yeah,
But
I would be open to trying it. I think I was also really like intimidated by the idea. Like Um, do you find that the wood soaks up this oil ground? Like, do you have to do an isolation coat before you use the oil ground?
So if you're just getting like a naked plain wood panel,
Mhm.
I would seal it first with what is it called? Golden Gack 100.
Okay.
I would do
Mhm.
2 layers of that first.
Right.
But usually what I do is those Da Vinci panels that I buy, they're already primed with acrylic gesso. So I
Right.
just go over that with the
Mhm.
oil ground. So I just basically
Okay.
have, I get to skip that step.
Right.
The only time I buy like the plain wooden panels is if it's like a size that I can't find
Mhm.
in, or like a circle or
Mhm.
something. Usually they don't make
Yep.
those in that brand.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I apply it on top of the acrylic gesso, and I usually do 2 coats, and that's why it takes, like, 5 days to cure,
Mm.
so
To
that's why
set
it
up.
takes, like, 10
Yeah.
days. Um,
Mhm.
but, I don't know, like, a lot of people apply it in different ways. Some people use, like,
Right.
paint rollers and things like that, but it gives
Mhm.
it a little bit of a texture, and
It
I don't
does
like
get a
that.
texture. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I do what Brad Kunkel taught in his class, and he basically uses almost like a spackling knife kind of thing, and
Right.
I just I sit there until I get
Yep.
it, like, the way
Sit
I
there
want
and
it, but it
smooth it.
takes
Mhm.
forever to get it, like, smooth because you get little divots and little, things from the
Yeah.
from the knife. But
Yeah.
it's worth it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's I mean, that's kind of like it's hard to charge for work like that. That's and I even find that because like I'll do so many priming coats and so many like I paint the whole thing. I don't just paint the front. Like I'm sealing up the whole thing. And I just totally do it because I'm that neurotic person. But I feel like if I was charging for all of this, like it just you can't. It's
Yeah, yeah,
it's so that's so much time that you put into each piece before you
yeah.
even start.
Exactly, and even just
Mhm,
the planning, like, the composition and
mhm,
the whole like, that too, I usually don't
mhm.
factor in to
You
pricing.
can't.
I mean, pricing, I'm kind of at a point where I'm doing it almost by, like, square inch
Mhm.
kind of thing,
Yep.
but also it depends on complexity and, this, that, and the other thing,
Mhm,
but it's, yeah, I don't sit there and I'm like, "Oh, well, I did the oil ground and I did the composition
mhm.
and I did da da da,"
No.
like, it's too
Yeah.
much. It's
Mhm.
crazy,
You couldn't
but
charge by the hour for a lot of those sorts
yeah.
of things. That's like it
Yeah,
would be in the thousands.
yeah, for
Because it's
sure.
so there's so much that goes into it that I feel like how would you even do a reel about all the amount of time that you're just thinking about the piece,
Yeah,
just contemplating it.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
gathering resources, doing research, like,
mhm,
all that kind of stuff. It takes so much time.
it does,
Yeah,
it
and
does.
every artist's brain works differently, like,
Yep,
I feel like I'm, again, very slow, so I feel like I have
mhm,
to sit with stuff for a while before I can, like, be like, "Alright, I'm ready to, like, move on with this piece," whereas some other
mhm,
people are just like, "Alright, I'm just gonna throw paint at this canvas and, like,
yeah.
see what happens."
Yeah,
Which, I don't necessarily like that about myself sometimes, like that I'm such
mm,
a, like I have to plan everything so much. I wish I could
mhm,
get myself to be a little bit more like less precious about things.
yeah,
Um, but it would have to be in more of like an experimental capacity because again, it's like once you
mhm,
find that thing, and now people kind of expect that like lighting effect kind of thing for me and I'm like, well,
mhm,
if I do it this other way, it's not going to come out the same.
yeah,
It's not going to look that
totally,
luminous or whatever. So,
mhm,
it's you kind of get stuck in like a process, but
mhm.
again, it's good to experiment.
It is. I know I'm kind of in a phase too where I've been doing a lot of things that I wouldn't normally just to get out of that whole planning every little moment of the
Mhm.
piece. And I started doing like like kind of building up molding in some of my backgrounds as a means of getting back to paint and not
Mhm.
be so much about creating something that's like real. or like,
Mhm.
you know, just yeah, just kind of to get me out of my own brain and allow the piece to kind of take me where it wants to go,
Yeah.
instead of it being like this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Um, but that's it's kind of a trust fall sort of situation because you can end up
Yeah.
in bad places.
Yeah, for
Definitely.
sure, but you know what? It's
Mhm.
like the stakes aren't that high because you don't have to show anyone if you don't want to, like
Well, I've been doing it with gallery pieces, and maybe I shouldn't be, but I've been like experimenting with I'm like, ah, well, this is you got one life to live. Slip it
Yeah.
now. Um, and
Oh, we have a
part of
visitor.
me, oh, hello, Kitty. So tell us, Kitty, what is she like to live with? Does she give you enough treats?
She would say no.
No. They always do. Aw. And what's
Can I
this
help you?
little kitty's name?
This is Shiva,
Hi, Shiva.
based on Final Fantasy.
Nice.
Oh my god, get your butt out of the camera! Final
Aw.
Fantasy is actually how my husband and I met, so we
Oh,
named our cat
really?
after Shiva, so
Aw. Aw, so cute. How did you guys meet through Final Fantasy?
we were playing the online version of the game, and we met on there.
Oh, wow.
He was o I was only 12 years old when we met,
Hmm.
and he was 14, and,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was
Mhm.
crazy. We have a crazy, like, meeting story where, people are like, "I met on
Aw.
Tinder," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, we met playing Final Fantasy when we were teenagers," like
Yeah. Aw.
but,
Well, that's good
it's
though
great
that
'cause all
yeah.
we run in a geeky crowd, so, it's like,
Mhm.
it fits.
And were you guys like location wise like in the same sort of area or
He was in Jersey, and I was in Long
okay.
Island, and,
Oh,
our
okay.
moms actually drove us back and forth
Oh,
between
wow.
the 2 states, and yeah,
That's
and we ended
amazing.
up together, so we're very
Mhm.
thankful for them,
Yeah,
doing
I
that.
bet. That's cool. I'm glad it was a good story because you hear so many bad stories, you know? It's like, I'm
Yeah.
glad that all worked out well.
Yeah, for sure.
I had nerdy friends too, though. It's funny because my brother is in the video game industry. He's like a video game producer. Um, he's 10 years older than me, so he got into it at a time where he started out as like a video game tester and he
Mhm.
moved up through those departments and he's worked for all kinds of companies over the years and but my mom wouldn't let me play video games um I because I was a girl.
Oh,
And so
no.
she had like a very like, no, you're a girl, you can't play video games. That's not
Oh.
for little girls. And so I didn't grow up playing video games, but all my friends did. And so
Mhm.
they would talk about Final Fantasy and I was like, what's that? Like I don't know anything. And I never really got into video games. But I loved the art, you know?
Yeah,
The art was really
yeah.
cool and um there was a point in time where I thought I would get into animation, and, my brother was like, "Yeah, get your degree, and then, I'll get you a job," kind of a thing, but, um, I really have a hard time with, like, what is that called? Like, following other people's rules? So I always had, like, this thing where I was like, "I don't wanna play a game," like, I'd have to, like, follow other people's rules, so I never really got into them, but, a lot of the artwork from then is really cool,
Yeah.
and, yeah, it's interesting to see how it's evolved too,
Mhm.
how it's
Yeah,
really
it's
changed and
definitely gotten way more, realistic in a lot of
mhm,
cases. Yeah, it's really cool to see. I feel like it would be fun to work on like
Mhm.
a Final Fantasy game or something, but
Right? Yeah.
I don't know if I could take the stress.
Yeah. That was one thing, like watching my brother work through the industry, it made me not want to
Mhm.
because he would be, working 14, 16-hour days, sleeping there and like waking up and, just working these crazy deadlines. And I just thought, like, that is not for me. Like, I
Yeah,
couldn't ever.
yeah,
um, I've always felt like I was a very slow worker. And especially when it comes to things like that, uh, artistic things, I feel like it
yeah,
takes me a long time to
same.
get work out. And I don't think I could function on a pace like that and
Yeah,
and feel good about it.
mhm,
So
same. I totally feel
yeah.
that.
hmm
I think
After
maybe that's why
too,
I've
like,
kind of not been involved with commercial work too, because,
right.
it's very deadline based
Mhm.
and,
And it's
you know
so competitive. So
yeah.
competitive.
Mhm.
That was something I realized in work too. Very, very competitive industry. Um, and if you're not like that, it's really hard to function in it and
Yeah.
be like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Well,
found
that
that
was
really difficult.
part of how I kind of came into this community was when I went to a LuxCon for the first time, and everybody was so not like that. They were
Oh,
so
that's
not
good.
competitive and not,
Yeah.
they were all very welcoming. And, I was like,
hmm
this is great. I love this atmosphere of, and that's kind of also how I ended up in this specific genre of art,
Right.
was because it
hmm
was it was imaginative realism, and everybody was
hmm
just so not not gatekeepery, and they weren't like
hmm
elitist. They were just kind of like, hey, join the club, like, we're happy to have you
Yeah.
here. And I was like, this
hmm
is great. Like,
Yeah. That's great though that you've been able to find that. And then and stuck with it. Like I feel like your work is very it stayed along the same lines for a long time.
yeah, well, I
Do
definitely
do you
always had a
ever?
love for portraiture, and that
Mhm.
never went away.
Mhm.
My style changed a little, and my the way that I was doing them changed, but
Mhm.
I loved doing portraits and the figure and everything, so I knew that was never gonna
Mhm.
go away.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you want to try things that are outside of your normal thing, but you can't? Do you
Mm,
ever feel like boxed in by your own thing that you started or not at all?
I don't know, I don't really feel like I can't, just, again, because I can pretty much do whatever I want, like,
Yeah.
with my stuff, but
Yeah.
I do wish sometimes that I was, like, interested in doing other things, because it would,
Mm,
again, open up more opportunities.
right.
But again, like, that's kind of where my mind's at lately with this whole, like, I want to evolve as an
Mhm.
artist, but, like, how do I do that
Yeah.
and still keep the things about my work that I love? And
Right.
that's where I was, like, thinking more along these narrative lines, where it's like, "Oh, I wanna tell more
Mhm.
of a story,
Mhm.
when I do this." I do kind of wish I was better, or, like, more suited for landscapes, because I love them
Mm,
and I think they're beautiful,
mhm.
but
Yeah.
I'm like, if there isn't a figure in it, I'm like, I can't.
Not interested. I find them very challenging too, and I've tried to do some lately, and I just stall out at a
Mhm.
certain point because it's interest, but it's also like, uh, yeah, it's like being interested, but also like liking it in the end.
Yeah,
I haven't liked any of the landscapes I've done, so I think that's hard when
yeah,
you're just like, I'm not happy with this, and um I don't mind my landscapes when there are behind like have a character in front of them. Then I feel like that works, but I just
yeah,
haven't found too many landscapes where I'm like, I really like that.
yeah,
I don't know why
I
that is.
forgot who said it. I think it was somebody when I was in college said, and it always kinda stuck with me, where they were like, "You can always tell where the love is in a painting."
Mm,
Um, And that was, just kind of like a moment that I always think about where, because I think I had
Mm,
done this, like, I think it was part of like a critique of one of my pieces. It was like a professor,
mm,
and
mhm,
I had spent so many hours on this like hyper realistic portrait of this girl, but then
mm,
like the colors on her like shoulder area or like her neck were very flat, and
mm.
he kind of was like, "You spent so much time on the details in her face," and, like, he's like, "The pores, like, everything," and he's like, "And then you get down
Right.
to here, and it's, like, nothing."
Mm.
It's, like, 2 colors,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like, and I was like, "Yeah, you're totally right." Like, I
Mhm,
love painting the face, and that's obviously where I spend all of my time, so I try to stay cognizant
mhm,
of that now too, where I'm like, I don't
mhm.
want to make it so obvious, that it's like, "Oh, I didn't spend
Yeah.
any time on this other stuff, just the face,"
Mhm, other stuff. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so
Absolutely.
if you're not in love with landscapes, it's like it's never gonna be at the same level as your other
Mhm.
stuff, you know?
Which is so interesting because it's like, I love other people's landscapes,
Yeah,
but not
same.
mine,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's like,
Yeah, it's
why?
wild. It's really
Yeah.
wild. I've also heard people say, like, work that you love doesn't always need to be the work that you make,
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
so yeah, I'm very happy admiring landscapes from afar, but I'm like,
Yeah.
making them isn't for me. Um,
Yeah. And I definitely think it's great to, like, work outside of your shtick because
mhm.
I've always found that that's made me better at the thing I do. So there is that piece where it's like, I wanna learn, but I don't, like, you wanna kind of
Yeah,
evolve, um, and sometimes it's about doing those things that you're afraid of or don't like, and
yeah,
sometimes that's definitely it's made me, kind of, yeah, look at things differently,
mhm,
maybe even change my process a bit,
yeah,
um, which is sometimes it's even things that seem like they're not very art related can
mhm,
really help you. It's the strangest thing, but
yeah. Well, I still love, like, taking classes and things like that because it
mhm,
kind of forces you into those instances of pushing yourself
mhm,
and doing things that, you're not super comfortable with on a normal, day to day.
yeah,
So,
mhm,
I think learning is always important, all
mhm,
throughout life. So,
absolutely. I think that curiosity too is what um makes people good artists, right? Like
mhm,
keeping that thread of curiosity throughout whatever you do.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's what I've noticed about people who are really good too. They just never really stop. They never really think that they've plateaued.
Yeah,
It seems like to me anyway. I don't know. That's just what I've kind of noticed. But all right, I'm gonna ask you some practical questions.
sure.
Um, since we're talking about being alive and being an artist. Um, could you share with me like your typical day or your typical week, or how do you work like how do you work your art into your life?
Yeah, so my job is 9 to 5. Sorry, 8
Mhm.
to 5. I just lost an hour. My job is 8 to 5. I am not a morning person, so the chances of me getting up early and working on things is 0.
Mhm.
So I usually come home from work around 5-ish, and, I usually do things when I get home, like exercise, cook dinner, like whatever, spend time with my husband. We usually watch a show, and then if I have time after that, I usually will do art for, a few hours before bed. I do tend to work best creatively at night. But
Mhm.
usually on work nights, I am pretty dead still. So usually I'll
Mhm.
try to do more like sketching on like Procreate or something like digitally. So I can like veg out on the
Mhm.
couch and still like be doing
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I try to save the actual painting and drawing for the weekends,
Mhm.
which is also hard because then you have like family obligations and things like that on the weekends. And,
Yeah.
but I always try to reserve some time on those weekends and then, occasional days off or holidays or, whatever it is.
Mhm.
I also, it's like precious time. to do artwork, but I feel bad sometimes because sometimes I have to say no. Like sometimes I have to
Mhm.
say no to people because I'm like, I have a gallery show coming up and I need to finish this. That
Yeah.
actually just happened a few weekends ago. My husband's family was going on this kind of a yearly trip that they do to their cousin's house in Virginia, and I was like, I
Mm.
can't go. I have Gen Con coming up. I have a gallery show coming up. I was like, I have to get this stuff done, and they're all very
Yeah.
understanding. None of them,
Mhm.
but I feel bad. I'm like.
Yeah. You wanna
But
go on the
but
thing.
I have 2 jobs, like, I can't
Mhm.
always do all the things, all the time,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of my
Absolutely.
schedule.
Yeah. Well, good for you for sticking to it because it is really hard. Um, I've noticed that and making time for everything.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're able to make time for this today. I know it's hard when you've got so many things pressing in on you. Um,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, would you say time is your biggest challenge as an artist, or what would you say is your biggest challenge?
Hmm. Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Um, Time is just a crazy thing when you're an adult. It seems to just
Mhm.
fly by.
Mhm.
I can't believe June is already almost over, like, because I have
Right?
Gen Con coming up and I'm like, "Oh, wow, I actually need to be, like, ready for this because it's gonna be in, like, a month."
Oh, wow.
But, yeah, like, I do, like, plan out usually pockets of time, like, a month where I'm like, "Alright, this month I'm gonna be working on this piece." And then
Mhm.
it comes to be the end of the month and I'm like, "I'm not done with it." I'm just like, "How did this
Uh,
happen?"
yeah.
Um, yeah, I would definitely say with a full-time job, I would say time, is, and we're hoping to start a family too, so I'm like, "Wow, it's gonna
Mhm.
get even harder to
Yeah.
actually do that," which
Mhm.
scares me for sure. But I know I have to prioritize it in certain instances because I've in the past taken breaks from doing art, like, back when I was in college and, like, when I was first out of college, and I was, like, miserable not doing it.
Yeah.
I was so depressed, and I was just like, "Alright,
Yeah.
well, I've gotta prioritize this in my life somehow."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, um, I really only started painting seriously when I had my last child. So I was like 28 when I started painting in oils,
Mhm.
something like that, 28, 29, so I don't know, somewhere in there. And yeah, because she's 11 now. I don't know. Math isn't mathing in my head right now. Like I know I would maybe I was yeah, anyway. Um Yeah, I was older when I started painting, and most of it was because I was used to being sleep deprived. I was like, "What's more sleep deprivation at this point? Like, it'll be fine." And I
Yeah, I've
still
heard
will
it's
have,
amazing what the body can do, at
yeah,
certain points, but the sleep deprivation
yeah,
does scare the crap out of me.
yeah. For me, I really come alive at night, and even now, I won't get tired till like 3 or 4 AM, and
Mm,
that's it. Now I can't do that anymore. Like
yeah.
I can't handle the next day if I do, and I've
Mhm.
been doing that last week, and um yeah, consequences later on,
Yeah,
are pretty harsh once you get in that, like, 40-year range, because your brain and your body just change too much, but I used to just power through, and, I can't anymore, but I think that that whole, like I realized that as I was, having my last kid, and I'm like, I've just had kids and just done kid stuff for so long, and I've forgotten me, and it was
yeah,
really important to kind of remember what who am I? And also when you have kids, I mean, they're watching everything you do.
mhm.
And I never wanted them to feel like I didn't have my dream because of them, you know?
Yeah,
I never
mhm.
wanted them to feel like oh, mom put everything aside to be mom.
Yeah,
And she never yeah, you can say follow your dreams till you're blue in the face, but if you don't do it, I don't think
yeah,
anybody cares, right? Like your
yeah.
kids aren't going to listen to you.
If you're
So,
not living it, yeah.
yeah, people don't pay attention to your words. They pay attention to what you actually do. And and kids are very action oriented whatever you're
Yeah.
actually doing, right? So so for me, that what I completely agree. As someone on the other side of it, don't forget who you
Yeah.
who you were, because yeah, you will. I have to say though, being a parent is probably the reason why I did end up doing that, because
Mm.
it was that as a motivation that really got me to paint. Um, so it's weird. It's weird how that works sometimes, or for me anyway. That's how it worked.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I've had like professional artists tell me that when they had kids was like when they painted the most, like in their whole
mm,
life, just because they were
mhm,
so adamant about prioritizing it. So I was like,
yeah,
yeah, I know it's possible. I just,
mhm,
gotta keep to it.
yeah, exactly. And I found it was having that habit that really, because we all have time somewhere, and it's like, what are you spending that on, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, well, I'm not going to sit and watch TV with you. I'm going to
Hmm.
go and paint.
Yeah.
And you, I mean, yeah, I definitely do the same thing where I'll sit on the couch and I'll draw. Um, and now that they're older, they know they can find me at some point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll sit there and I'll talk with them. But they're all into art too, right? Because they've
Great.
grown up in galleries. They've grown up they would terrorize the galleries and run around the gallery. And that's how they grew up. And so to them it's not weird, right? To
Yeah.
them it's not like I'm absent, really. It's like this is just part of life. And for
Yeah.
some people it's like they're hockey people or they're baseball people, and we're not. We're like art people,
Yeah.
music people. So I think it's also that where you're kind of showing your kids a mode of living, right? This is
Yeah.
how we live, right? I'm sure your kids will go to conventions with you and
Yeah.
be convention kids, right? Like
Yeah.
that's just part of it's a different way of being because that wasn't really a thing when we were kids, but
Yeah.
there's no reason why
Yeah,
they
but it
wouldn't
sounds
want
like
to grow
you
into it.
imparted on them, how important the arts are, which is such
Hmm.
an important lesson for kids.
Yeah, the last community we were at, they had these shows at the galleries where once a year everyone from 0 to 100, could enter their work in. And so my toddlers sold artwork. My like our
That's
kids were like,
amazing.
yeah, like it was yeah, we have pictures of them with their little sold artwork.
Aw.
It was very cool. And it was such a great way for them to grow up. So, I'm sure your kids will be the same way because the apple doesn't fall that far from the tree, right?
Yeah,
So
it will be interesting though because my husband is not creative at all. Like he doesn't
mm,
he's just along for the ride. He's so supportive and he loves going to the conventions and stuff and looking at
that's
everything,
good.
but he doesn't he like hated art in high school. Like
Oh, really?
he's very logical minded. He's a software
Mhm.
engineer. So it'll
Okay.
be interesting to see
Yeah.
which of us the kid kind of takes after more, like or if
Yeah.
they're like a mix like in the middle, like they like
Hmm.
both things.
I
Um,
still feel like software engineer. That's very problem solvy.
yeah, he's definitely a
Hmm.
problem solver. Like he's creative
Hmm.
definitely in that sense. But like as
Hmm.
far as the visual arts and like music and like theater, like the traditional sort of like arts, he's not
Hmm.
as, drawn to as I am for
Hmm.
sure. Um,
Yeah.
but it's like but I also have like, a very strong logical side to my brain because I mean, look at what
Hmm.
I do for a living, where
Yeah.
I'm organizing data and stuff. So
Yeah.
I definitely flex that part of my brain as well. So Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see what the kids are
Yes.
interested
Yeah.
in, you
And they
know,
might
like
just be a complete wild card and
yeah.
just be like into something totally different, right? You never
Yeah.
know, right? It's
Yeah.
funny too, because some of my kids are like they're good at art, but they're like, I don't want to do that. I want to go and do this because they
Mhm.
don't want to do what we do. And it's like, that's cool. I'm cool with it. I don't care. Right.
Yes.
You never know.
Yeah.
You can never really anticipate that. But yeah. Do you have like an ultimate goal for your art? Like when you think of success or you think of like I know you're talking about Haven Gallery was such a big goal. Do you have another goal or is there like a place where you'll be like, "Ah, I've reached the peak."
Oh, it's such a good question because it's something, you know, you have to kind of keep reevaluating as you're
Mhm.
going along. Um, yeah, I think for me, it's still gonna be the day where I get to quit my day job. And you know,
Yeah.
I cause but it sucks though, because I don't just equate success to, like, financial, you know, like, "Oh, I'm making money off
Yeah.
of this." Like, I do feel successful already, you know, in my
Mhm.
pursuits of this, but,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes my brain, though, will be like, "Oh, but you're not doing it full time." You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
it'll
Yep.
kinda go to that place, and I'm like, "No, no, like, you've done all the things you've
Yeah.
set out to do so far, and, you know, I'm sure
Mhm.
one day I'll get to this other pinnacle of, you know, what I want it to be." But,
Mhm.
uh, yeah, so I guess, unfortunately, the financial side of it is very intertwined with, um, some of my ideas of success in this space.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a great day where I get to be like, "I quit," you know? I think a lot of people
Um,
fantasize about that moment, you know?
definitely. Definitely. I could see that. But it sounds like it's still a good environment for you and
Oh,
you're
yeah.
enjoying it and
For sure.
everything.
Yeah,
So
no,
that's
it's
good.
definitely not like a bad job, you know, like again, it's
Mhm.
not retail, it's not, you
Mhm.
know, it's something that I enjoy doing and I have people there that I love spending time with and yeah, it's
Mhm.
definitely a nice it's a nice situation.
Yeah.
I'm not like suffering at my job or anything, but
Yeah.
it's
That's
just
one
this like
thing that
nagging feeling of like, you know, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean?
right.
Like
Mhm.
this drive, like this is what I'm driven to do, but it just
Mhm.
feels like the other stuff gets in the way sometimes, you know?
Could
Um
you see Da Vinci working in retail? Like, I just sometimes I wonder about that, right? Like, where would we be if we'd had some of these great masters have to like work in fast food or something like that,
yeah.
It's
Yeah, they
it's a
didn't they were funded, you know, they had patrons that
mhm,
funded them and, you know, like
mhm.
yeah, it's a totally different time.
It is. It's a completely different time and it's a weird time to be
Mhm.
because we're so connected to other creative people, but at the same time, it's also that struggle of
Yeah.
feeling validated, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I hope that there's a happy medium there somewhere one day where, people can value these sorts of slower pursuits. I see a lot of people on YouTube and they create these projects and they make these videos about them and that's great. But I mean, it'd be a very boring video if I showed you every part of making of oil painting. Like I just feel like no one would be interested in that. Um,
Yeah, I've
I
been
don't know if
thinking
you
a lot
find
about
that.
that too lately, just like the
Hmm.
types of content that I wanted to make for social media and stuff. And
Hmm.
I have been doing a lot of process oriented videos and I'm
Hmm.
thinking I need to start moving away from that. Um
Hmm.
one for my own sanity because me recording like a 60-hour painting with footage,
Hmm.
I'm like this is insane. But
Hmm.
also just because, you know, I need to focus more on who my audience is and finding my audience and, you know,
Hmm.
focusing more on what they want to see.
Right.
And, you know, if I'm not looking to be an educator, I don't think
Mm.
process videos are the thing that I need to be focusing my time on.
So where do you feel like your people are or what they're wanting to see from you? Like,
Yeah,
if it's
I
not
mean, it's
process, what do you wanna do?
it's something I've been, trying to figure out lately. I
Mhm.
definitely don't have the answers yet.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that kind of meeting people at Gen Con will open up that, perspective for me.
Mm.
Meeting new people, being like, "Well, what do you like about my work?" Stuff like
Mhm.
that. But yeah, I feel in my gut that I have to move toward more calming calming content, like escapism,
Mm.
taking
Mhm.
people temporarily out of their, day to day and seeing something magical and,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff.
Mhm. I I like that stuff too, and I feel like the world we live in, the more I live in it, the more I wanna leave it. Like, the more I
Yep.
wanna
Yep.
escape.
Yep. I
And
mean,
I
I'm
f
a big fan of like audiobooks and stuff and
Mhm.
I'm like, get me out of here.
Right? I know, I was even like, I don't know how much you're into fantasy television series, but
Hell yeah.
I love the Game of Thrones series, and I was watching House of the Dragon there when it first came out, and I know what's gonna happen, I know it's gonna be sad. But then the Night of the Seven Kingdoms came on, and it
Mhm.
was, like, just so lovely, like, there's just such a loveliness about it, such an
Yeah.
innocence about it, and now going back and, like, watching the new House of the Dragon, I'm like, I don't wanna watch this, this is sad, this sucks."
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
like, I would just find myself like, whenever I'm wanting to watch fantasy, I just rewatch the other ones.
Yeah, I agree. I like,
Mhm.
I don't mind seeing like depressing, fantasy, but after a
Mhm.
while you're just kind of like, this is too much.
I actually, like I found my when that I haven't watched the latest one, but the first
I
episode
haven't
when I
either.
find there's one part where I won't spoil it, but I was like, "Nope, nope."
Yeah.
Like, I, like, couldn't
Mhm.
cover the screen, and it wasn't because of gore or anything, it was just because it was so sad, and I was just
Yeah.
like, "No, I don't wanna see this puppy die. I just don't."
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
I totally get that. I'm the
Mhm.
same way. I'm just like, there's a point, where you're just
Yeah.
like, all right, too real, too real.
It's too much, and it's, like, the most unrealistic thing, right?
Yeah.
Dragons. It is so unrealistic, but it was like, "Nope, I just can't go there with you right now."
Yeah.
Like, life is just too hard.
Yeah.
So, I
I
just need a
totally get it.
world where it's just, like, just the dragons, like,
Yeah.
nothing I don't care about your incest, I don't care about
Yeah.
your I don't want any of that, I just wanna see the dragons, and I'm
Yeah.
good. That's all
Yeah.
I want.
I totally get that.
Mhm. I wish they put their budget into that. Just more dragons, less people, like,
Happy
the
dragons.
yeah, the people can die. I don't care really that much about the people, like, I just really want the right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think a lot of people are there. I don't feel like you almost, like, don't need to prompt people.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people just want to leave this reality, and part of it is that we're all so plugged into each other's lives and, um, the news and, like,
Mhm.
all this horrible stuff, I just wanna turn it all off and just see something I would never you're never gonna go back to a time without the internet, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can't box that thing back up. But,
Yeah.
yeah, that's one nice thing about some of these shows that are about a very innocent time. You
Yeah.
can kind of
I
escape.
agree.
Mhm. I feel that way too. Like, almost wanna make my work more escapist, and,
Yeah.
I think I know I would be interested in watching how you got to that piece, you know?
Mhm.
Like, well, what were you reading or what inspired the
Like
piece,
the
right?
inspiration behind it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
that
yeah.
stuff is way more interesting. Um, I've tried to find stuff like about Klimt or like some of these artists that I really love.
Mhm.
Um, and what led them to those ideas, and there isn't a lot out there about that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I would love to know too about his process, but I would read it maybe once. I would like watch it maybe once.
Mhm.
Whereas that whole like inspiration thing is I know Morgan was describing it as like catching smoke. And it is very much like that. It's like something in the ether that you're just like grasping at and
Yeah.
trying to hold on to. Um,
Yeah. It's a magical part of the process is,
mhm,
the ideation behind it
mhm,
and, how people's brains work. Like, how did you get
mhm,
there? Like
right? Yeah. And so much of it is like a lifetime of
Mhm.
experience that leads you to that thing. So and that's something like a robot's never gonna have, right?
Yeah, for sure.
A song you heard when you were 12 that
Mhm.
was a line that stuck with you forever. I'm working on a piece like that that was inspired by a song from when I was a teenager. Like it's just
Yeah.
weird how like those things will just they stay with you and
Yeah,
work in your
because 'cause they're
mind.
part of molding you as a person,
Hmm. Yeah.
and your art is you. So
Essentially, yeah. I think that would be interesting. Like, and that's why I thought this series would be interesting, is because um I find especially figurative artists, are some of the most lonely artists because they're just sitting in front of their canvas and you don't work in a community the same
Mhm.
way. A lot of like in tattooing, that was one thing that was really fun about it was you're in a shop full of artists and you're talking about art all the time and you're talking like everyone will come around and look at what you're doing and oh how are you
Yeah.
doing this and so there's much more of that communal feeling, but I feel like artists like yourself were very, insular in a lot of ways
Mhm.
because you don't
Yeah.
have that,
I think that's
right?
why so many of us love, a LuxCon every year because it is
Right.
like this big,
Mhm,
like, almost community gathering that, we get to
mhm,
compare notes and see each other. We come out
mm.
of our holes essentially.
Right? Yeah,
So that's
that's
definitely
cool.
a huge draw for us.
Mhm. That's cool. Um, I and where is Alexcon? Is this, like, in one part of the States or
It's in, Pennsylvania, so it's about 2
okay.
hours from me, west. But yeah,
Mm,
it's a place called Reading, Pennsylvania.
okay. Nice. Yeah, that's really cool that you've got that. I know I've just, like, watched a few of those sorts of things from afar, 'cause I am afar. Um, where I'm situated is just above Montana, so for
Okay.
context,
Mhm.
that's how far away I am from everything. Um, but it seems like there is a lot of things like that from my perspective, where you can kinda go and, like, have these communities of artists. Um,
Yeah, I mean, they're not, like, super easy to find, but once you
okay.
do find them, it's
Mhm.
like we stick with it.
Mhm.
Um, so, yeah, it's great, like, because again, I don't know if I'd be doing the work that I'm doing if I hadn't discovered that community, in, like,
Right.
2019, I think it was. Of course, it was, like, right before the pandemic.
Right.
But yeah, it's great to have people that you can bounce ideas off of and, like,
Mhm.
just, commiserate with and, you know
Definitely.
yeah.
And do you stay in touch, like, during the year, or is it
Yeah, I
just
definitely
like
have made some good friends, that I
that's
talk
good.
to a lot.
Mhm.
We send each other cat pictures, like
Aw. That's
things like
awesome.
that.
That's really cool. Um, and I feel like I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but the smartest or whatever community
Smart
too,
school?
smart school, like, has that given you a sense of community too, or not so much?
Um I think definitely yes when I was doing it. Like
Okay.
when I was actively involved in it, there was like a Discord server that we were all talking on and like
Mhm.
when we were doing the class critiques, we were all like very engaged with each other.
Mhm.
But I feel like after the fact, I'm not the greatest at like Discord and stuff, so like I probably could have kept up with that community a little bit more, but I kind of fell off with it a bit.
Mm,
But
mhm,
yeah, it was definitely great when I was doing it. Like, I definitely felt
mhm.
like there was a lot of like-minded people that I was able to talk to.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it kind of strikes me as sort of an atelier sort of
Mhm.
school.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
um, yeah, so that's one thing where I have, even though I haven't done the course, I have recommended it to some people, some younger artists, where I'm like, if I could, I would do this course because I feel like, um, especially if you're not centric to a certain area, like you can still get that experience of
Yeah.
an
Who would you wanna
atelier.
take a course with if you could there?
Oh man, there was one. I mean, I love to learn from Brad. I feel like I have snooped on his process quite a bit.
Mhm.
Um, and so I kind of understand how he gets from point A to point B. There was one other artist there, and like I'm just terrible with names. And she's a female artist, and she had. I know I had watched her process on YouTube. She had some videos there. I can't remember her name, but she
Female,
works through there.
Winona
Um,
Nelson, Cynthia Shepherd.
Cynthia Shepherd. That was, yeah. I
Yeah,
love Cynthia's use of light, but
she's
also
amazing.
her composition is really
I
stunning.
actually met her at a LuxCon, a few
Oh,
years
really?
ago,
Oh,
and,
cool.
she was the most one of the most amazing people I've ever met in the community
Really?
because she was so, like she was so popular, obviously everybody knew her,
Hmm.
and she had been an art director, and, like, everybody was
Hmm.
interested in her time, and she, like, took the time to really sit with me and talk to me, and she
Oh,
just, was the kindest person. She was like, "Oh,
wow.
like, all these people were trying to pull her to, like, these different directions," and she was like, "Hey, Alexandra, do you wanna come with me?" And I was like,
Oh,
"Yes,"
yeah.
and so I was just, like, tagging along with her,
Oh,
and
that's
she
so
made me
cool.
feel, like, included, and I
So
really have
awesome.
wanted to take go back and take a class with her. Again, I
Hmm.
haven't had the money or the time.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
that's
I
the hard
maybe
part.
we should do it together one day.
Yeah, I would love to. I really would love to, and I think she'd be
Yeah.
such a great mentor. That's one thing where composition, I'm always like, "Ah, I wanna dig into this more," and it's even just having the time to do that, to, like,
Yeah.
dig into something and really
Mhm.
digest it, um, is always a challenge. It's
Yeah,
always a
for
challenge
sure.
to get that time, but yeah, she's great. I love her work, and I can't remember, there were a few other artists where I was like, "Oh, yeah, that would be really cool." I'm a huge Frazetta fan, so when
Mhm.
you talk about, like, narrative art, I always think of how he could just tell a very powerful, quick story in that single frame.
Mhm.
Um, so, yeah, I'd love to be able to do more of that. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think she'd be a great teacher for something like that.
Mhm. Yeah. I was always choked that I never got to meet him because 'cause I'm like, "Ah," like, he passed away in 2010, I think.
Oh.
Um, so I was like, "Man, this" I was alive at the same time. You know? But, yeah, he was just an incredible storyteller, and, yeah, I love that, when people are able to tell, like, really powerful stories in just a single frame. It's so
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So what is on the horizon for Alexandra?
Well, Gen Con is,
Gen
like, kind
Con?
of taking
Mhm.
up my entire, like,
Life.
life at this moment because it's only a month away.
Yeah.
And then after that, uh, I mean, I have a LuxCon, which I do every October,
Mhm.
but other than that, it's pretty open right now, the
Yeah.
possibilities, and, again, I think I'm focusing a little bit this, year on just marketing stuff
Mhm.
and business related things, which I
Mhm.
actually enjoy it. I do
Yeah.
enjoy doing that kind of stuff. It's, again, the time that's, like, finding the time to do
Yeah.
it. But,
Mhm.
yeah, just continuing doing my work again, like trying
Mhm,
to do more narrative work and explore that and
mhm.
see where life takes me.
And are you, like, unveiling any works at Gen Con or LuxCon that people should, like, be paying attention to? Do you have, like, pieces that you're building for those conventions, or are you bringing
So
older
I have
pieces?
one
How does
piece
that
that'll
work?
be unveiled at a group show at a new gallery that I'm in called
Okay.
Nanny Goat Gallery.
Right.
That's going to be
Mhm.
next month.
Okay, cool.
That's in California.
Mhm.
Gen Con, I probably won't have that much new stuff, but I'll have new products that I'll be unveiling there.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'm excited about that. And then at
Nice.
AluxCon, I will definitely have at least one new painting
Cool.
that me and one of my good friends, Amelia Leonards, we came up with a concept and we kind of wanted to do our own version on this concept that we came up with. So we're
Okay,
gonna both
cool.
have it like, and be like, go look at her piece and go look at my piece and like
Mm,
compare, like
okay, that's a
what we
cool
came
idea.
up with. So
Mhm.
yeah, those are kind of the immediate future pieces that I have going
Nice.
on. But
Nice. And so, I do follow Nanny Goat. Is this an in-person show or is it gonna be online?
it both.
Mhm.
They'll have I think like
Okay.
an opening night or something, but I mean it's in
Mhm.
California, so that's
Right.
not I will not be there.
You
Um
won't be there. In
no, that would be
spirit
like,
only.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. A lot of spirit, but
Yeah.
definitely not flying
Not
across the
physically.
country.
Mhm.
But yeah, I do a lot of work for Modern Eden Gallery and I never get to
Mhm.
go to those either because
That's
also
too bad.
California.
Mhm.
But at least Haven Gallery is like the land of my people. So my parents still
Yes.
live on Long Island, so I go there all the
Okay.
time.
Oh, that's
Um,
perfect. Yeah.
yeah.
I have worked with Modern Eden, but primarily I've been doing online shows. So I've been
Mhm.
working a lot with Poetic Tiger,
Cool.
because they do online shows. So I'm working on a piece for that. But I found the online is like really been the easiest for me.
Because you don't have to ship it.
I don't have to ship it,
Yeah.
which is
Which
amazing.
costs a lot of money.
It does. And it's
Yeah.
like the eh, to like shipping to the States has been difficult lately.
Yeah.
So, and I found just shipping anything back very difficult.
Yep.
So that part has been kind of like, oh, I don't love this. Um, but I don't know, what is it like when you're in the States? Do you have any difficulty shipping pieces or is it easy?
I've never had difficulty unless it's big. If it's like a big
Okay.
piece, then I'm fighting with them usually about,
Mm,
basically the cost and the box and
right.
the size of the box and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's just money usually. Like
Yeah.
it's stupid expensive to ship. But
Yeah.
I'm okay, Kat. Um, you have comments about shipping.
She
Um,
does. She's like,
yeah.
shipping? I'll show you my tail. That's how I feel about
Um,
it.
But yeah, so I've been trying to find ways to make it cheaper,
Mm,
because it's just so expensive. But
yeah.
and whenever like if it's Haven Gallery, I'll literally just go there and drop it off because
Right.
I'm like, I'll go stay at my parents' house for a weekend and like
Mm-hmm.
just drop this off so I don't have to ship it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's it's
Yeah.
it's a pain in the butt
It
for sure.
is. It is a pain in the butt. But I feel like that import thing is such a I don't know. It wasn't like this when I first
Mhm.
started. When as a Canadian artist, shipping to the States wasn't that different than shipping within Canada. Um, yeah, it was
Yep.
pretty simple. Now it's really weird. Now
Thanks,
it's really
politics.
weird. Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, cool.
Yep.
Um, but uh, but yeah, I I don't know. What do? You got to just kind of move with the times and um, yeah, I don't know. But shoot, I was gonna ask you something else. Oh yeah, tell me more about your Patreon.
Oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just started it recently. I have a
Mhm.
coloring club, which I do
Mm,
line art of one of my paintings that I release every month,
mhm.
so that patrons can get a download coloring page.
Okay.
I have a post club, which is like every month they'll get like goodies in the mail, like stickers or postcards or something like that.
Mhm.
And then I have a tier for, more like art related process
Right.
stuff like videos and like tips and tricks and, materials and things like that. So,
Right.
yeah.
And how are you finding it? Do you feel like um do you have a good like working kind of relationship with your patrons? Like are they giving you a lot of feedback and stuff on how it's going?
I mean, it's so new, like, I literally
Mhm.
just started it, like, a
Oh,
month or
okay.
2 ago, so I
Oh
really
wow.
don't have
So it's
but
just a
I
little
figured it would
baby.
yeah, I figured
Yeah.
it was a good opportunity, me going to Gen Con, having
Right.
this to be able to, like,
It's true.
be like give out postcards and stuff I'm gonna have with, like, a QR code and just be like, "Hey, like, if you're interested in coloring pages or, anything
Mhm.
like that, just check out my Patreon."
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that I would look back and regret it down the line if I was like, "Oh, that was such a missed opportunity, like, I could have
Oh, it's
been,
true.
pushing this thing, or I could have been, like, whatever."
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's still a little baby. Um,
Aw.
but
Well, good
but
on you
I,
for doing it.
yeah, so far it's been going
Yeah.
good.
That's good. Yeah. I know I tried it for a little while and I don't know. It was difficult for me time-wise, mostly.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
I have a little query for you. Have you ever thought about doing bookmarks?
I have thought about it, but
Mhm.
I haven't found, like, a vendor or, like, to
Mm,
do it, but, I'd
mhm.
love to.
So this is one thing that I made when I was doing some local conventions. I did like a local comic book convention, and I had cards and postcards, but my bookmarks, they went because they're
Really?
something people would use.
Yeah.
So gave away like all the bookmarks. They did really
Okay.
well because it's something they're like you have a million cards, you're gonna probably chuck them.
Yeah.
Right? But
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, a bookmark, I'll use that." And because you work in a library, it just seems so like it would be something you could use. You could even give them away at the library. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if your library would be into that, but like I don't see why you wouldn't, right?
Yeah,
Like
no,
it's
that's a great idea.
because they're so useful and you still can put like, oh, this is where to find me, this is where to find my stuff, here's my QR code
Yeah.
on the back, but on the front it's like artwork. And
Yeah.
I found people were just like, yes, yes, yes. No one said no to a bookmark.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely
Mhm.
gonna look into that because I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure it's not too hard to find, like,
I
you
I
just
I
find,
just
like,
got it
probably a print
printed.
shop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just got it printed. I mean, we have Minuteman here. I don't know, you probably have
Mhm.
something similar. And they do all that stuff. And I
Cool.
found like that was the easiest one to give away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry. Cat
Uh,
butt in your
she
face.
needs attention. Yeah. So that's my little
Well,
tip to anybody who's like trying to get their work out there. I don't know how many followers I got from it or like how to quantify that, but I know I don't have any more bookmarks.
yeah.
Right.
So they
I
must have been
still
popular.
have cards from that time and I don't have any bookmarks. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
thank you for the tip. I'm definitely gonna look
Yeah. Yeah. And it cost me the same amount to get bookmarks
yeah.
printed up.
Yeah,
So,
because 'cause they're relatively, like,
mhm.
small. So
Yeah. I think they're typically like 2.5 by 4 to 6 inches or something like that. So
ooh,
they're
I
not.
also love when people have those, like, those, like, aluminum ones, like the metal
Mm.
ones. I
Hmm.
just got metal prints made. I'm like, "Hmm, maybe he'll do,
Cool.
like, metal bookmarks or something."
Maybe I would charge people for that personally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, definitely the paper ones, they were inexpensive enough I could justify giving them away. So
Yeah,
like
for
a
sure.
like you would with a business card. And
Yeah,
I never did a full painting. I always did like a slice.
yeah,
But it worked really well for me, so
yeah.
I'm sure
Thank
you can
you.
adapt it. Yeah, no problem. I don't I don't really do conventions anymore, but, I think if I was in the States, I definitely would,
Yeah.
because here it's very, like, hit and miss,
Mhm.
there isn't the same interest in fine art in a lot of the conventions in the areas I've lived in.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. Maybe if I plugged into things a bit more. I'm in a different location now too, right? Where I was in a little area in rural BC. And so
Mm.
maybe now that I'm closer to Calgary and Edmonton, maybe I would try again. But
Yeah.
it's
Well, with the
it's not
even,
this
like, in the States, like, the travel costs associated with going to a convention, like, you still
yeah,
hope that it'll be worth it, you know? Like
absolutely. Well, once you're having to rent a hotel, that's
yeah,
yeah,
big
it's
bucks.
expensive. It's
Yeah.
expensive. And I'm sure the table isn't cheap.
Yeah, no. It's not.
No. It's not cheap. Conventions are definitely they cost. So
Yeah.
I hope you can break even on your
Thank
conventions
you.
because yeah, it's it's a whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, my phone is unfortunately about to die.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. And we've been talking for a while. So that's no, I'm so glad I got to connect with you and that,
me
hopefully
too.
everyone here kind of got to know you better. That's always my goal is let's get to know these artists because
Yeah.
all the people I've talked to are such lovely people. And I'm like, oh, I wish I want to be friends.
Yeah.
so so yeah,
Yeah, well, thank
it's
you so
great.
much for inviting me on here. It's been so much
Yeah.
fun. And,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely wanna keep in touch and, I
Yeah,
hope anything
definitely.
I said today was useful to people, so
I'm sure it is. And where can people find you?
you can find me on Instagram. It's my name, Alexandra Verhoven. You can find me on YouTube, on Patreon, Facebook,
Hmm.
all the usual
All
places.
the places. Yes. And I'll try and get all those links in the description. Um, and yeah, and hopefully spell them correctly.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much,
Yeah, thank you for
and,
coming on.
yeah, talk soon.
And pet your cat for me.
Oh, I will.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Bye.
have a great day. See you
You
later.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. And now I have to figure out again. Ooh. Uh-oh. I don't remember. There we go.